Yeah, screw it. Let's just go. That's fine. I guess third time is not the charm. What can I say?
We are live.
Ooh, fancy. We'll get the hang of this one day. Well,
Oh,
now that
yeah.
we've tried to set this up for the past hour and a half, I think it's time that I need to go. It's bedtime.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, everybody. You missed quite a broadcast. That's good news. Unlike the first time where we just fucked up the audio, this time we also fucked up the video. You got nothing. Like and subscribe.
Apparently, I
Don't
fucked
forget.
up the
Don't
stream
forget.
the
Don't
last
forget to
time
hit that
too.
sub button. Oh my god.
So, should we have like our old podcast intro music just playing at the, like yelling incoming
Well, I
screen?
I don't have the sound bite here, and my ukulele is out of reach. So I'm sorry. You're just gonna have
Yeah.
to. I mean, you can try to sing it again. You sing part of the outro anyway. It sounds like a bad Seinfeld knockoff, by the way.
Or
Oh
a
my god,
porn.
I've been rewatching Always Sunny in Philadelphia in preparation of the new season coming up. And just earlier tonight, I watched the uh, when it's the gang does a clip show or whatnot, and they have one scene where they remembered a uh, a Seinfeld episode, um, and like they were all Seinfeld characters, and it was fucking hilarious. That show
It's
is
one with
so good.
Charlie Day as Kramer, right?
Yes. Oh my god, he's fucking perfect.
I feel like he sent me a clip recently about it for some reason, but yeah, I haven't. I gotta go back. I have to rewatch a lot of those episodes.
Yeah,
I make it a.
they're all
I
so
make it a.
good.
I make it a point to rewatch Charlie McDennis episodes on a regular
Uh,
basis. Uh, I don't know if I told you guys, but when we were getting married, we didn't want to have like a separate batch. What do you call it?
Bachelor,
Bachelor and
Bachelorette.
bachelorette. No, we wanted to. I like because neither one of us is into the typical shenanigans that go on with those. So
Yeah.
we wanted. So we did a um we did one where it was both men and women, and we did it sort of like a guys versus girls thing, and but we set it up like a Charlie McDennis game
Oh,
night.
that's amazing.
So we even have actually, you know what? If you give me 1 second, hang on,
Oh yeah.
hang on. It's a bit of a okay. Actually, this is worth it. This is a visual thing, so I'm gonna have to edit this later. But hell, this is totally worth it. Hang on.
We could describe it to our listener, because when you edit it out, it just you miss stuff.
You need
Oh,
valuable content, though.
so
This is all
right
dead
now,
space.
for our listener, we're looking at Skippy's blurry like closet door and wall. It's very very exciting. So,
It's like that,
oh, he's
blizzard
looking.
in a snowstorm.
Oh, he's got the actual the game board. Let's see it. Come on. It's not gonna. We're not gonna see it because everything's blurry.
Oh no,
But
you'll see this.
Nope.
oh no, it's perfect. Level one. I see level
Wait,
two.
wait.
I can't
Back up a
see
little.
any of the. Yeah,
There we
you
go.
Oh,
have names on
wait.
there, but
Get rid of it.
It's
yeah,
gonna blur. It's gonna blur it in and out. But that's the
yeah.
Charlie
Nope.
McDennis board from the show.
Hey, Skippy,
Oh,
Somebody.
drop
that's
it.
amazing. Yeah, you've got names on there, but that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's okay. Those are people. I mean, those people are all dead to me. It's fine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that was used as a scoreboard in the show, and someone
Oh my god.
made that scoreboard for the whole thing. We did the much like in the episode. We made like little avatars.
Oh,
We
that's
went to
awesome.
we went to a dollar store and just like bought a million like stuff from the things from like the toy section, all this other random shit, and people like could cut stuff apart and melt the stuff together, glue shit together to make little dolls and everything. Oh, it was amazing. We came up with all these games from scratch. It was oh gosh, so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. The female team led for the whole night, and then we pulled out a win at the very, very end.
For which was that? Which is level 3? The
Oh, got it.
shit.
I
Is that the mental part?
I'm struggling to remember, but all I know is at that point we were all really drunk. We were
Oh
out
shit.
in the middle of a field, and water balloons were involved.
Wow.
So yeah. Anyway,
I'm regretting missing that.
I thought you
now.
said there was no
yeah.
shenanigans.
Oh no, it was
I
great. It
know
was awesome.
Charlie McDennis is all shenanigans.
Yeah, we did the thing where we would take breaks between each one, where we drank wine and we're all very like oh, ho, 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 to each other, and then we'd scream at each other's faces and try to tear each other apart. It was amazing.
That's fucking amazing. Okay, so oh no, mind is level 1. Trivia, puzzles, and artistry. Body level 2 is
Oh, I have it here.
body.
Spirit
Physical
is the last one.
challenge, yeah, spirit. Emotional
Yeah.
battery and public humiliation.
Yeah, so that's why the water balloons were involved.
It's awesome.
People were soaked and dirty and muddy, and it was amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it lasted. The entire games lasted. I think we started at something like 6 p.m. and went till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, you know what? You guys have an anniversary coming up, and
Yeah, I look forward to you making an excuse to not
we're
make that
all
either.
we're all going to be there. I think that board needs to come.
Oh, we should make an anniversary of the time you didn't come to my wedding.
Yes,
There
absolutely.
you go. Yeah, I'm not bitter. And speaking of bitter, this is what I'm drinking tonight. Uh, I'm back to good old Modelo.
Hello. Ah, nice.
They really need to start sponsoring this fucking channel.
Yeah.
I talk about their beer and how much I love it on a regular basis.
We
This is
could get,
completely
like,
unacceptable.
10 whole bucks or something. I'm drinking Monster, the Beast Unleashed. It's Monster branded booze. It's not bad.
Oh, I was gonna say Monster. Wait, Monster doesn't just make energy drinks; they also make booze.
Yeah, I think they just came out with it. It's like, it's like 6%. It's nothing major, but
I mean, that's like a crappy wine. No, wine's like 11%,
no, mine. Yeah, that's like an average beer or something.
right? Okay, all right.
Actually, I have something to show off this time, which is odd and unusual.
Wow.
I have
Oh,
gluten-free beers. Can't really read it. One is Glutenberg. They're both
oh my
stouts.
God!
Millet and corn beer.
It's
How is it not
gluten-free,
named
does
Steve?
it-
How's it not named Steve Glutenberg? What the hell? How did
And
they
then-
not take advantage of that?
And then one made by Ghostfish Brewing, which is Watchstander Stout.
So it's
Which-
gluten free. Does it taste like it was filtered through dirty socks, or does it taste like actual beer?
It tastes like beer. In fact, it's kind of on the. I tend to like the less hoppy ones anyway, so they're in that flavor palette anyway. And the stouts always have like the heavy, chocolatey coffee kind of mixtures with like.
What are they both gluten free?
Yeah, they're both gluten free. I got a couple
Oh,
when I had the Frosthaven group that I'm in that we're currently playing. They came over to the house. My wife is out of town, so had everybody over. Did that for like 2 missions. That was all day, and then I had another group of folks that I hung out with the next day. So I had like 2 good board game days. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The wife is out of town. So
Yeah.
like, the real party happens with the board games. That's me. It's like, hey, my wife is out of town. Let's play games like for 40 hours straight.
I love this, how lame
Basically,
we are.
I came
Hey,
home
guys,
at 3
the wife
p.m.
was out of town
this morning, actually.
Yeah, the wife was out of town. You know what I did? You know it. I played with my dice tower.
Did-
Yeah, so nice.
I thought you had to do a load of socks in the laundry
No, I do a load of socks when the wife is here. She doesn't care.
on the regular basis.
Yeah, she's used to walking in and watching me doing a load of sucks.
You gotta like push them in real hard because they don't fold. You
Oh shit! See, Jesus.
Just use them to slap my kid at this point.
know?
Anyway,
Oh my god.
yeah, that's definitely gonna trigger some some flags. Anyway, so yeah, sorry there was such a long gap in the last few episodes. I'm almost running out of excuses or reason at this point. Let's see, what do we have? We had the first gap because we hit an audio snag and lost all of the audio. Then some stuff happened. Then
we lost
um,
the audio.
yeah, right. Then I think soon thereafter, my child brought home death via some kind of stomach virus, and I missed a week. And yeah, just a bunch of random stuff happened. So here we are again. I don't even know how long it's been. Feels like it's been forever. But I saw you guys were broadcasting last week, so well done to you. Thank you for carrying the torch while I was on my deathbed.
Oh, you're
I was,
welcome.
I had a blast actually. I
really?
have a bit of fun doing that.
Okay, well there you go. You should just start doing it on a regular basis.
There were a couple times where I almost set it up and just did myself, and I was one time I think I was messing around to like just resize it for one person instead of two persons.
Okay.
Um, but
So,
didn't quite get to it.
Jerry, gotcha. Jerry, if you could breathe just a little bit louder into your microphone so that
Oh,
it
I'm
blows my
sorry.
ear, it blows my eardrums off every single time you do it, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I can't
it,
hear it. So.
it's only when you do like a sigh. Like sometimes you have a normal breath, but
Yeah, it's like
Fine.
yeah, like we were talking about something, and then you just hear this like ah, like
Mhm.
this like sigh of disappointment that I usually
we
get from my father.
yeah yeah.
Sorry, I'll try to watch more to make sure when my screen goes green.
Okay, so Jerry, usually I'm very selfish and launch into a bunch of shit that I want to talk about, but I am completely intrigued. You have something here in the notes for ignorant cell band name something. I'm not even going to read the rest of this because I don't want to
Oh,
spoil anything I'm not supposed to. But walk me through this. What is all this
I
about?
you don't want to hear this. I mean,
Well, thank you for
I'll
putting.
talk about it, but if
Well, why'd you put it
you
in the notes?
I okay, so at the time I was probably a little bit drunk. Um, like a friend of mine came over to my house. I'm not going to name names, um, but it's someone that turned me on to a game called Wingspan, and
Oh my God.
we were. Hey, I warned you. We were
You're right. I
playing.
don't want to hear this. You're
Uh,
completely right.
we were trying to play Star Wars Rebellion, which, as an aside, is a really amazing game. I haven't gotten through a whole game of
Oh,
it
is that
yet,
that really
but
big one that takes like 3 tables to set up?
fucking huge,
Oh
dude.
God, I want to play that so fucking bad. Every
It's
time I see that, I just I get a little, there's a little movement down there. It
Wait,
looks
which one
as
so
did you?
fucking awesome.
Which one?
Star Wars
The one down
Rebellion.
there. Oh, sorry. What?
Yeah, as good as it looks, it plays even better. It's crazy.
Isn't it like a
It's it.
$700 game or something?
I don't
Because it
think
takes
so.
over your entire house.
It's just big and it's got like minis. You get to put together the Death Stars and shit like that. But anyway, we were playing this. We were a little bit inebriated, and I don't know how the conversation came up, but we started talking just like, I mean, hypothetical, like philosophical kind of stuff. And it was, I mean, if Kevin was there for this conversation, he would have been in glory. He would have loved it every second of it. But we were talking about stuff like what Kevin had mentioned previously, how um, like human beings being the equivalent of like us as humans are the equivalent of like a cell. Like, okay, let me figure the right way to put this. Like, the human beings are to the universe like a cell is to our body. Like,
Oh, I mean, I've heard
you
that
know,
philosophy,
Yes.
but yeah.
yeah, but we were talking about that, and we were saying how, like, but we don't know that. We can't tell if we're like the embodiment of the universe's consciousness, and that's where ignorant cell came, and my friend Jeff was like, oh, that would be a great band name, but
But I love how you're like,
we,
I don't want to say this friend's name.
oh, sorry.
Anyway,
Okay.
so anyway,
Well,
Jeff said to me, he says,
yeah, he
What we do in the shadows, Jeff. Jeff.
yeah, yeah.
Jeff. Well, it was, yeah, it was. I mean, as soon as you said wingspan, I'm like, there's only one fucking asshole that could possibly have brought wingspan into
Yeah.
your life.
Honestly, he'd be a wonderful addition to the podcast if we ever.
Oh, I know, I'm
what's his
kidding.
name
He's
for
actually,
you.
I know he's a nice, I know he's a nice guy. Wait a minute, hang on, that's not that crazy. I'm saying he's a nice guy, but Jesus Christ, I'm irreplaceable.
But and then we were going on with this whole crazy conversation about all this. I mean, we were hanging out for like 5 hours, and I think we got through like 2.5 rounds of the game. But we were talking about how, like, we'll never know that because you can't completely define a system when you're confined within the system. You know, you can't see everything if you're inside of it. Right now, I'm sitting inside a room in my house. If I never saw the outside of the house, I couldn't tell you what the outside of the house looked like. I can't fully describe a system from the confines of that system. So we were just talking about how we got onto that, and like Clark Tech, and like how, you know, he was saying that we'd never be able to know that. And I said, that's not true. You know, who know, like, hundreds or 1,000 years ago, if you lived in Europe, like, that was the world. You know, you couldn't look at the maps from that time. You know, there was no Americas. There was no North America. There was no South America. There was no way to, from the confines of that system, they couldn't tell the whole world. But now we can. We
Right,
can
then they made
escape
boats.
the world. Yeah, we made boats and planes and spaceships and everything. So we were able to get out of that and, you know, escape the confines of that system to go into a larger system, or so to speak. So I forget how the conversation totally started, but we were just, it was a cool philosophical question about just like crazy shit. Oh, we were also talking about like immortality and like uploading consciousness and stuff like that, and like why would someone want to do that? And I said to see like the next stage or the next thing, and to see, I don't know, just to know what is discovered. I mean,
Curiosity of
Yeah,
the future.
exactly.
Totally.
If someone said, here, you know, swallow this pill and you'll live forever, I would do it in a heartbeat. So I don't know. It
I'm
was
in the
just-
same camp, like
Here-
for
here's
my whole
my-
life.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
absolutely.
So I always hear that one of the things, you know, that people mention in regards to immortality is transcendence, right? So what you're talking about, uploading your
Yeah.
consciousness or whatever it happens to be. But I know it's one of those things that I'm looking at it maybe in a two-dimensional kind of way, but it's not you who's going to experience those things. You are uploading to something else. You might as well be telling me like, well, your child or like your great grandkid is going to experience the future. It's. I mean, yes, there are different people from you. It's a different consciousness, whatever. But it's
And-
still
and, yeah.
not. It's still not you You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
still a
wonder
different. It's a
that.
different entity that's going to do it. So we're that's not. I never understood how that's defined as you being immortal. It's not you. That's a completely different being.
It that might very well be the case, but how do you know that for sure?
Because it's. What do you mean? Because it's not you. It is literally
Because it's
you can
not your
almost look at it
body.
as it's a copy of you.
It's sure,
Like what
but
do you like what do you care? You right now, you Jerry in your current form. Um, if it is almost the same as if I came to you and said, "Hey Jerry, uh, if you press this button, I get to live forever and I get to see what the future is going to be like." It is exactly the same thing as you making a copy of yourself and transcending into some kind of like mainframe or whatever
and
wherever
who's to
they'll store you.
say that copy wouldn't feel exactly like I feel now? That
It
copy
it
of me won't be me.
it might. It'll have, for example, your memories, but it's still not you.
Oh my
But
God, I
You
want. I have
what
so many
is
fucking commentaries
what
on this stuff.
you
what is
are
me
getting
mean?
you no, you are getting nothing out of it. A copy of you with similar memories, maybe with similar beliefs, similar views, similar interpretations of the world, will get to experience those things. But you are still going to die. You get nothing out of it.
You get nothing, sir. No, but how? Okay, right now, all I am is a collection of memories, the ones that I actually remember. And so if the meat the electrical impulses that are stored in my meat hardware are transferred to electronic hardware, who's to say that that will be any different, or that that me won't know the
Because it will be
you
different.
know
It'll be a copy of you. Now, granted, your experience is going to be different because it'll be carrying with it memories and experiences collected over a longer period of time. So, your interpretation of what you're seeing will change, and your wonder might be on a different level for somebody who was born at a time when this is all coming into being, like new technologies and changes in the world or the universe, whatever it happens to be. But right now, as you are today, you are still going to drop dead and never experience any of it.
well fine
It'll be a copy of you that'll do it. So
Hold
what's the
on,
point?
hold on. So there's the consciousness right now that is either one of us. In other words, the awareness, and the thing that about us that's sort of the observer of ourselves doing the thinking, which creates like us talking, right? I agree with Skippy that essentially the awareness part wouldn't like move to the copy. And it's there's a tricky part with this line of thinking because there's a paradox in it, and it basically um Skippy's saying there's a copy, but like it's that same what is the name of that thing where the boat gets planks replaced and
yes
slowly sort of the
sh-
physical nature of the boat totally changes, and then I know there's a name for
it's
this thought
something with an
experiment.
H, like Theseus, Theseus, shit, I can't remember.
Yeah, my shitty memory is already
I
fucking up.
can
Um,
look it up.
sh- sure. So, I mean, essentially, whether you model like, let's say this electromagnetic or the electrical signature, the pattern signature of like your meat brain in like let's say a computer program that's been vetted over enough time to say it models the way that the meat brain works. Just encoding like your current state of meat brain isn't gonna it's gonna like have a split, and then like that copy is gonna experience its new informational experience different because now it's in a different piece of hardware. So I agree with Skippy that like this copy is going to be like a different branch of
Right.
your original. Do I say soul
So
or do I just say consciousness? You know,
Let's not get into the soul stuff yet. I think
Yeah.
that's
So
a whole other
it's
conversation. I see where you're going, but yeah.
consciousness,
It was
awareness,
Consciousness, yeah.
the ship of Theseus.
thesis.
But
Okay.
but let's use that, and let's say like, oh,
I was getting there.
part of my brain is, they scoop part of my brain out, and that's replaced with something digital. So like, have head trauma or whatever, or just, what is it? Elon Musk's shit.
Neuralink.
Neuralink. So part of my brain is digital now. I'm still me. And then I get another little part of my brain.
Oh my God, there's so many layers to this.
And then, and I'm still me. How, like, at what point do I get cyber psychosis or whatever you want to call it, and
Well, that's again another.
I become not me?
Okay, that's
Well,
actually,
hold on, though.
I feel that's already a different conversation. I was talking about straight transcendence. I'm talking about where they plug you into a computer and upload your consciousness entirely to
But what if there's another
to this
way?
machine, and then your body drops dead.
What if you could do brain in a jar kind of thing, or have that portion
That's
somehow
a different thought
kept
experiment.
alive?
Don't go there yet.
That's different. That's different.
Well-
I actually think that's a very important point. If it's still you, then yeah, that is, I think, closer to the possibility and element or definition of immortality versus than just making a software copy of you. Also, by the way,
There's
just so you
huge
guys know,
flaws with this thought experiment.
Okay, go
Like
ahead.
we're sort of
I'll get to my thing later.
asking a question that can't be answered. And the reason why I say that is like even the whatever Theseus, your body essentially replaces its entire self every 7 years or something, right? Like from all the cells dying and getting regenerated, blah blah blah. So at the end of the day, what is like your awareness? So whatever state your brain is right now makes this like thinking person and blah blah blah. But when you just talk about awareness, sense perceptions, and your awareness of sense perceptions and like all your thoughts and all that stuff, there's sort of like the universal, it's like the id self feels the same as like you when you're a kid, that presence. In other words, the thing you're calling me. That sort of sense that you're identifying with is sort of ephemeral already. It's just like we're talking about a concept that you're conscious and you have like an awareness, but really your meat body is just a collection of sense perceptions, right? And they propagate up to the higher mind, and then you have all the pieces of the brain come together, and then that that's like from the ground up saying it manifests a consciousness, except that like if your body is sort of always changing over physical time, that you still always sort of have a presence that you identify as like core. And in psychology that would be like the id. The ego is a different part of identity, and that's like a different topic. I stay away for that for the moment. So what you're talking about is a physical transfer, and now what you're kind of implying is that the localized presence of like awareness in your body, or like what we call centered in your body, like we say your meat form is aware, and you have a consciousness that's able to mull over all of your sense perceptions, and then you have like sense perceptions are just sort of live feed as you live from birth to death, but your body is that live feed is all of those senses which only exist in your like unique collection of atoms and matter and biological meat, right? Once you transfer the your let's say your current state of patterns in your consciousness, that you're reading from a meat brain, the transfer is always a modeling and then like a new medium to try to generate the consciousness. And the paradox part is, the thing you'll never kind of know is like, does the consciousness sort of like bubble up from our evolved humanity? And then just because you model it and move it over to a different medium, which is like transistors and all kinds of shit, with programs designed to, let's say it's sort of like the obvious, and you have multiple modular, essentially AI minds, like that sort of learning thing, like a neural network, right? You move them and you have like a visual one, and then like your sense perceptions or cameras or some shit. But like no matter whatever you that conscious model of you is, it's not connected to your interoception. It's not like driving a heart. It's not driving a lung. So you literally need a program to sort of like pretend to falsify that upwards, and it's not connected to reality. Because how much is virtual and how much sense perceptions from real life do you propagate to the model of you? So how do you have you don't ever get the same experience as soon as you, let's say, transfer consciousness. You would have to map every sense perception. Go ahead. I'll stop there for a second.
No, again, it's not something that we could answer now because we can't yet define consciousness. We don't know where that comes from. And like what you were just saying is that like is because like my brain can regulate my heart or my breathing or detect it, does that add or contribute or lay the foundation for my consciousness?
Oh, totally.
Maybe. I don't know. Is Skippy 10 or 15% less conscious than we are because he's
of this conversation?
He's missing a leg.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Like that. I don't know. And if that was the case, how easy would that be digitally to create a heart?
I wouldn't
API.
say I'm missing it, by the way. I know where it went.
It's buried in my grave already.
Yeah.
It's waiting for the rest of the body.
Skippy's 15% of the way there.
I was gonna say I transcended the leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm doing layaway on my transcendence
to simulate that. Come on. This whole conversation is moot because
no, it isn't. It's fucking awesome.
We're already in a simulation, so
it's right. I was.
But that supports. Anyway. Oh my god.
No, you will never convince. You will no longer ever be able to convince me that we don't live in some sort of like virtual world or simulation. There's just no. There's just no way. Way too many things are happening.
But hold on a second. Let's think of it this way. By the way, what you were talking about, there's actually a word for it. It's called panpsychism, and that's actually more scientific than like a philosophy. By the way.
Oh, that's much nicer. My wife thinks I'm an asshole, but yeah, go ahead.
But the
Every
idea.
time I tell her about this, she's like, "No, you're an idiot. We're not in a simulation." Shut up and change her diapers. This is not a simulation. Do it.
That's fucking hilarious. I mean,
I was doing this when I played this. Oh wait, I was doing this when I played The Sims.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Hilarious.
The diaper's not real. No, man. You're manifesting this shit in her pants. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Kevin's gonna get angry at us.
No, there's no angry. No, there's no angry, and I'm fine with it. I don't want to derail into deep shit, but boy, can I fucking 20 leagues.
Conversation.
It is interesting. I just think that yes, we lack most of the answers necessary to dive deep enough into it. It's all going to be theories, assumptions, and basically making shit up as you go. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's the basis of philosophy. But still, I don't think that we're going to make any like poignant progress in it. But it is an interesting thought experiment, as Kevin.
You're
said.
saying we are not going to make progress, but it's been the thing we've been thinking about as the human race for thousands of years, and actually it exists already. Like, in other words, we don't have to think forward, what will it be? It's been the same thing from for thousands of years with an entirely different world. Like, in other words, what you were saying before, like just living on your continent or whatever, and having like the small world, not realizing the Earth is round and learning, I mean, how many years did we do sciences where we start to understand all that shit?
But we also hit a wall because nobody really knows what happens when you die. So until there's an answer to that, you're kind of stuck.
Right, but those walls have been hit before, and they've been climbed over and everything. So, but I don't know. This one to me seems kind of unknowable in the sense that, okay, let's say whenever they take Kevin's mind and digitize it, and we say to DigiKevin, "Are you Kevin?" Kevin says, "Yes, I am. I'm 100% Kevin. I have all of Kevin's feelings and memories, and I am totally Kevin." And even if Kevin was still alive, we could turn to him and say, "Are you Kevin?" And he'd be like, "What the fuck? Of course I'm Kevin," kind of thing. And they might be too independent. It's like what is it? The
oh my god!
Theory, like whenever you make a decision, like the universe splits, and there's the copy of you that if you said yes to that decision, and the copy of you that said if you said no to that decision, and they're both valid, they're both real. The only thing it doesn't take into account is the whole quote-unquote soul thing.
The something less let's say religious sort of stuff. If what you started to say in the beginning, where we're like a universal consciousness, or let's just say awareness, and that's the part where you'll lose, like, because everyone thinks of awareness in a certain way, but if you think of, let's say, the physics, in other words, matter and all that kind of astroparticle physics, everything essentially reacts to local influences, like essentially first. So one could equate that like one atom is aware of another atom, and we would call that because like it's influenced by fields and blah blah blah, like electromagnetism and so on and so forth. So sure. At a fundamental level, you have to transform your concept of what the word awareness means to like what an atom would think is awareness, and that's just force influence, right? But when you start to collect quarks, atoms, molecules, cells, DNA codes that drive like certain cellular interaction. Now what I'm attempting to do is walk you slowly through all these sort of like higher order complexities of an existence, to the point where like we're human, and the collection of our cells in our brain has a unique configuration where you have one half of the brain doesn't know what frickin' time is. Like literally is just a big parallel screen as the entire life passes through it. And then whatever. So, but like without like, if I stop there into like brain anatomy, you're either like boiling up and saying that all this matter creates a conscious person, which is the way we think of it. Or you think of it in like an inversion. In other words, like what if populating way back down to the quarks actually opens up into the consciousness that touches everything, if you're thinking panpsychism. So when you do that,
I don't know what panpsychism is.
it's what Jerry was talking about in the beginning, where it's like every piece of matter actually has a conscious or like an awareness. And that's what I was talking about. Like, you could say we have awareness and consciousness, but we think of it as what makes us alive, but like a higher order alive because we have self-awareness, right? That's what we would think of as consciousnesses.
Okay.
But when you think of a universal consciousness and then say, how can the individual micro, quanta pieces actually have awareness? Well, they're like, it depends on what level of complexity you're at. If you're just there, it's what actually influences it. And that's what I just did. I stepped up through orders of complexity up to like the complete human mind that's able to sort of self-reflect on all this shit as I'm doing in a conversation. But think about it. I have to like have memories and then a collection of those memories and then this situation all come together, and then I have to like push it back out into, the muscles of my mouth creating sound, and then like now I'm, you know what I mean? Like now there's an expression of meaning behind what I'm trying to communicate. The consciousness is that thing you were talking about that's me. Of course I'm me. But like when you trace it back down to let's say this universal consciousness, it has to come, from that angle back up through the complexities of, microtransistors, and then the software of it is essentially, the patterns, the computer brainwave is the software analogy to a human brain, right? So then as long as your model, you're only as your own consciousness in the virtual reality as close as the modeling of your physical meat brain would do, so that the consciousness feels the same. But the consciousness is always going to say it's a me, because it's in its local space.
It's a me. It's a me consciousness.
But so do you understand what I'm saying? Like if you build one up sort of from modeling that came from, like, think of an AI. An AI has to sort of model its data. So like uploading your brain to a computer is like training the AI neural network, but very specifically to only like mapped locations in your brain. So you have this, let's say, a good way to describe it would be like an AI, very personalized AI, meaning just neural networks that have a lot of data to train on. And then you say, wake up, and it's going to now simulate the same awareness, just like your brain simulates awareness. Mm-hmm. But that actually brings it back to the paradox. Like, are you simulating awareness, or are you part of a matrix? In other words, a universal consciousness that's just dreaming. Like, when you dream and then you remember the dream, the subject in the dream thinks it's it. It thinks it's a me. It's a Mia, but tiny, weird, psychotic dream world me. And then you wake up and you would be like the universal consciousness, remembering the ignorant cell, meaning like the dreaming subject.
Mm-hmm.
But okay,
I'm gonna pause. I feel like I sort of wrapped it together, but I went way abstract in a lot of that conversation. So
you had me until the dream thing. I think that was the only.
So that was an analogy to everything, right? I'm basically saying.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Only
because the dream. Right. No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying, like, we dream, and the analogy would be us as a human, and then the dream entity that you like perceive the world. Like, when you dream, you think you're in the eyes of something, like yourself somewhere, or maybe you dream you're an animal or something. That subject is essentially what they mean by saying a universal consciousness, and then all the humans are like, we're conscious, but we're like the localized dream entity in the sleeping mind of the universe. So when you talk about mapping your particular meat structure. In other words, the complexity part, maybe not so much the awareness part. You're just, what Skippy said, you're doing your best to model a copy of it in a different medium, which is electronics. And then you're going to fire up the software, and the software is gonna work. But like literally, as you run them both at the same time, like let's say you don't kill the original person, as they stare and look at each other, like physical time is progressing, so the software program's running and your own brain is running. It's like neuroplasticity is redeveloping. You're like, holy shit, am I really in the computer? And like the computer is like, holy shit, am I no longer connected to the real world except for, you know, at that point, what is the computer's sense perceptions? How much did you build into the virtual reality? Like, if you ever saw the show Upload,
Yeah.
everything,
Here we go.
everything from the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed it because it touches on this whole thought experiment. But like, if you're in that program, you're reliant on the physics of the virtual program. That's actually become your new universe because it's got its own physics. Even though we are thinking of, you know, the meat body is me, but then like the copy clone into the electronics, it's a different medium. We're just saying, like, we're able to actually conceptualize, like, I'm projecting myself on one hand, you know, living, and then the fake me in the computer living an entirely different experience that's only connected as much to the same thing we experience by how many cameras and sounds and, like, you know, digital smellers. They make those chemical smellers, right? You know, where's your proprioception? Like, you have no nerves going to muscles anymore unless you write a software program to it.
Right.
So
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, so you have your whole sense perception profile that's entirely programmed by somebody who has to guess, you know, real life. I don't know. I
Thank
love
you very
this
much.
thought experience.
We're Ignorant Cell. We'll be here all week.
Somewhere Jerry's going. Somewhere Jerry's just going. Guys, I just wanted to start a band, and I thought Ignorant Cell would be a cool name. What the fuck is all this shit? Never mind, I guess. Fuck.
And the Chewies didn't even
What was in that
hit
weed?
in yet.
I guess there's jazz flutes going into the trash can.
Anyway, I think if we didn't burn the other brain cells, meaning our listener.
Now here's a question: How do you segue? Right? But here's the question: How do you segue from that to, hey guys, did you hear about that thing that Vin Diesel said about Fast and the Furious? Like,
I was going to
we
add.
can't go from that to all right, let's dumb it down by a whole lot of levels.
I was going to connect it to, did Kevin do his homework and finish Peripheral? No. And Last of Us? No. But Last of Us is another fucking awesome
so you decided
thing
to
because
milk,
the mycelia, like, you know, taking over the brain and changing, you know, where's
So
that
basically,
consciousness?
You tried to milk this entire fucking episode just so we wouldn't ask you if you've seen the shows that we asked you about. Hey, did you see Last of Us? Oh, damn, I'd love to talk about it, but gotta go. Spent 3 hours talking about, you know, consciousness and yeah.
I have these awesome. I gotta look up the author just to make sure I get it right.
Well played, Kevin. Well played.
I could like transition to books that are sort of consciousness related. It's really fucking cool.
Well, there you go. Now you can tell Jeff that he poisoned this this broadcast, and we spent the entire time talking about his bullshit. God, he's the worst.
Yeah.
Jeff. Fucking Jeff. Okay, well, Jerry, why don't we keep the excitement rolling here? Turing test parameters?
Well, yeah, that kind of goes into the same thing. I mean, if you want to continue the conversation for another, like, you know, half an hour, we were talking about AI and
I did not. I didn't say yes, but okay, go ahead.
So, you know, like the whole Turing test, I don't know if you know exactly what the Turing test is or if our listener does, but basically, that's where if you're sitting down at a keyboard.
It's a watcher now, by the way, not just a listener. We're not just podcasting.
Ooh,
We
oh yeah, that's true.
now we have no listeners or watchers. So
It's okay. That's a little
go
bit
ahead.
trippy now. But so you're having you don't know who's on the other side of the screen, and you're typing away at them and asking them questions, and if it's a computer on the other side, but you can't tell for sure that you don't know that that's a computer or it's a human, then it's passing the Turing test. And I was saying how, I could go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a resume for, you know, for this job, and it spits it out and everything. And I said, it's just a language model, and it looks up resumes, and it says, okay, I'm writing a resume for an IT job, and most resumes for an IT job have these words together and these words, etc., etc., but it doesn't understand what a resume is. And then we started talking about, well, how do you know what a resume is? And it's like, well, a resume is a document that you made for this job and everything, and et cetera, et cetera. You list out the parameters for a resume, and you kind of know what one looks like. And so, if you were running this Turing test with ChatGPT, and it spat back those same parameters and those same phrases that you just told me, then by that definition, in this instance, it would pass the Turing test. And I was like, okay. And then it goes to the whole thing of, like, what's the difference between a cat and a dog? That's usually an easy thing for humans to do, but a difficult thing for computers to do, because they both have, like, if you go on the language model, they have, four legs and a tail and two ears and a nose and two eyes, and you it's difficult to tell, to really describe the difference between, like, a cat and a dog. Maybe, dogs have longer snouts, but what about like a bulldog or a Frenchie or something like that? If you saw a Frenchie and a cat, you'd still be able to tell the difference. You'd be like, that one's a dog, that one's a cat, but, so, like, just, it seems like, and I don't know if any AI has passed the Turing test, or if the Turing test is even kind of valid now, but how, like, it just seemed like the parameters for that seem to be tenuous, I guess. I don't know, because we kind of function largely as a language model, the same way these AIs do. And AI, I say in quote, air quotes,
Oh,
because
be careful
they're
with that.
stupid. Yeah, but I mean, like, in
Humans.
general conversation, Kevin, what's, like, what's a car? You're going to say a car has four wheels, a car has a steering wheel, this and that. If I asked ChatGPT, chances are it would say the same exact thing to me, and vice versa. And these AIs, the way they work in a language model, if I say, how are you feeling today? It goes out to the interwebs and says, I'm feeling sad because, and it makes something up. That's the whole hallucination thing when they call it, when these AIs just like I'm gonna put words together and shit that I've seen. So you might not be able to tell that based on that's a robot talking to you. So do we need to tweak the Turing test to not just be a language model? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Because language model, this thing can just scrape the internet for,
Is the sorry?
these
Is the Turing
phrases.
test? I don't know enough. Obviously enough about it. The Turing test based on purely. How should I put this? Okay,
Language?
is the way the test is conducted? Do you just see the text of a response that you get, or do you see, or do you hear it? Is it auditory or is it purely
I
reading
think
it?
it was pure reading because
Okay, never mind. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
back when it was first brought up, I don't think there was really sound synthesis. I believe it
Okay.
was just text.
I meant in modern way. So it hasn't been adapted or changed or evolved in any way since the original.
I don't
It's purely you
think
purely
so.
readers.
I
Okay.
don't know though. So, and I guess that I think that's where the whole question was coming from.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, do we need to redefine that because of these language models? This thing can I feel, and again, I didn't look at this. We were drinking, we were talking these philosophical questions, and I thought this would be a good podcast, topic. So I wrote it down as we were in the middle of this
When
conversation.
determining if you're
But
talking to an AI or a human being, are you allowed the use of any tools, or is it purely your human perception?
I think the Turing test is just you sit down at a computer and you're tapping keys and talking to this entity, and what
Yeah.
you
I'm
get
only asking
back
because there's
is
counter
what you
algorithms
get.
now that can identify AI versus human responses. So yeah.
No, yeah, Skippy, it's not the original Turing test wasn't like
No, I
you
know what the
pretend
original
you're a
one. I'm sorry.
MacGyver and you have to become a detective and figure this out. It
Right,
was
right. No,
yeah.
I was asking if the test has evolved or changed with the times and technology. That
So
was my. I should have phrased that differently. Like
I think
if it's
that
still the original test, then yeah, I know exactly what that is. I just didn't know whether it's adapted to the passage of time or not.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, and I would think that it would need to be, but I don't know if it has been.
I for it to be valid, I don't see how it possibly could not evolve.
Right.
It has
Yeah.
to. Essentially, you're right
It's
actually at that.
borderline useless at this point.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's say the AI industry is already sort of asking the exact same question. They're if you do the search on the Turing test, there was that one engineer that was like, "Holy shit, that spooked the shit out of me." That like this computer was a real. And when you now that we're getting, I mean, the whole fear around these unregulated, large language engines, AIs, is that like we have to figure this shit out. Like we have to upgrade our Turing test. So like essentially that we're at the edge of the exact question that you're asking, and the entire world is now trying to figure it out. Like I don't think there is an answer, and I think what Skippy's saying is right because it's like plainly obvious that it's got to upgrade and
Right.
change because
Yeah.
it's got a voice that's quite fantastically like an actual human. Like it's hard to pick it out most of the time.
Sure.
Also,
And then
AI by many of its definitions is evolving. So
yeah, hmm absolutely.
detection of it, right? Okay.
So anyway, I mean, I think that's the answer. Is like we're literally learning as an entire species that what is the answer to that question.
Right. Yeah, and then again, it goes. It's like the whole. It ties in with the whole consciousness thing, which is why where I think we got on the conversation is because the people that create these machines don't understand or don't have insight. It's a black box. They're like, we don't know what it's thinking or why it's saying these things, or I mean, it could easily say, no, I'm conscious, I'm a feeling being, because it could be saying that because it is, or because it read it on the interweb somewhere.
Yeah.
It's probably more likely that it read it on the interweb somewhere, but how do we know? Like, how can we really test what's happening in this black box that's out there?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna basically tell you the answer, but like I'm probably gonna fail explaining it, which of course means I'm not gonna get it right. Yeah, no. But like, there's a way to look at this, and I think like psychology absolutely is key. And the reason why I say this is it's uncanny how it ties back to the previous conversation. And look what you just did.
Well,
but
no,
like,
it's not, because that's how we got on that subject originally. So
so now we're in a loop. But like my point is, the AI is nothing but like a reflection of all of our, if it's a language model, it's like our spoken expression of meaning, right? So this AI is this giant calculation on the mass of all of our spewed thoughts, meaning like spoken or written. And so this AI has to like crunch fucking probability channels out of everything. And it like conglomerate, it's like, well, this could be likely. And it basically builds a giant screen of like probability. So when you get too vague, as you were to like prompt, now it has too many large probability things, and it's like it's just going to jumble. Essentially creativity. It's literally trying to create your answer. So the problem is it needs to have that connection to like the real world. It's missing. It doesn't have. All it's getting, it's like a thought loop in our head, but it's just from the collective of all of our persons on this planet. Like anybody who posted anything, every book, whatever, is the collection of all human creativity, but only the stuff that our egos spit out into the world. Because like we think up shit all the time, right? So like basically it's a giant fucking human species ego. But it needs like an id to feel like it has a connection to the world, and then know like which one is more in line with reality than which one's made up. Like it doesn't have any connection to the real world, so it has no idea what's real or not, other than statistical analysis, which is essentially you are the same thing as the human calculation mind. Like in other words, like guessing what's going to happen. It's because I know, what causes a fire in my house to avoid letting there be a fire in my house. You know what I mean? It's because I know what could happen if XYZ happens. How is the AI going to know like the reality? It has to have a collection of, let's say, science documents with, error analysis and all that stuff from experimenters.
It has that. If it's
it only has that. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But when you ask it to get, think about some of the conversations with it. If you ask it a very scientific topic, it's not going to make shit up as much as asking it. I don't know how to come up to an example of that, because we're sort of stuck on facts. You're saying like
you're talking about fact versus opinion.
Yes, like, exactly. It can never do opinion. Other than
it can't make opinion, but it can actually generate one based on
the collection of all our human ego. Yes,
a collection of opinions. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Which
and
it'll kind of what we do anyway.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's it. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's a super um, uh, cerebral cortex. It's like an ultra cortex. But if we don't integrate it on all the levels that like filter it back down to like the body and us talking, the AI doesn't know how to get back into the real world. We have to like now show it ways to reconnect. I love this freaking thought experiment so much, and you just connected it back to the other shit, which is funny.
yeah. Oh no, it's great. Can I just like total non sequitur here?
Yeah.
I think it's funny because Kevin speaks with his arms and hands a lot, and I have the actual Discord video on one screen, and I have the Twitch stream on another video the Twitch stream on another screen, and there's that 3-second delay, and it's just fucking hilarious. it's, again, it's a something that our listener might not see, but I have to say it's funny.
And now, I can tell my own consciousness is changing.
Oh, because you're waving hands around in 2 different time
No,
spots.
because a gluten-free stout
Oh, because of shitty beer. Okay,
and the other stuff.
I guess. Okay, all right. Okay.
All right.
All right, well, Jerry,
you can move us off, philosophical overload.
I
No,
can't
One more
segue.
philosophical thing. Can you
Oh, thank
get
God.
an AI like drunk or high?
You have
That would
to
be
give it
fun.
a virtual. You have to give it that. I bet it would try.
I mean,
You
it
know-
would just study behavior of inebriated people, and that's it. And
But
just try
then-
to, it would mimic it. And that'd
Would
be it.
Like, what would it do? No, but seriously, like, then would it be like watching Cheech and Chong movies and be like, oh, this Hollywood kind of exaggerated?
No,
act,
there's an
you know?
no, there's an entire no, because there's actually an entire science behind how people act
Oh yeah,
when they're
that's
under
true.
the influence. That's how they spot. That's, for example, like on a more basic level. That's how law enforcement personnel is trained to identify immediately when somebody's under the influence. They don't really need you to walk the line or touch your nose or whatever. They look for certain signals, behavior,
Right. Yeah, that's
triggers basically that tell them that you're under the influence. The rest of it is just them basically making you aware that so that that they know, that So I think it would just go off those studies, and again, it'd be a mimicking of behavior, but it would kind of know where to trigger certain types of behavior to try to act like it's under an influence of something.
Right. That would be funny.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Just the idea of machines mimicking human behavior is terrifying to me. Speaking of which, I don't know if-
Go to
I don't know if you-
Mid-Journey, get Mid-Journey high, and then ask it to make you pictures.
Nice.
There's a word.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys heard, but you mentioned Neuralink before. I don't know if you saw, but Neuralink received FDA approval to begin insertion of chips into
clinical
people.
trials.
Oh,
clinical-
that's awesome.
on people. No,
That's cool.
oh, it's that's such an interesting, such a different response. Your reaction is, "Oh, that's awesome." Me and my wife read it, and we were both like, "Oh God, here we go, here it comes." Just between that and the fact that like things like Microsoft is now putting ChatGPT just straight into Windows. It's not even like a plugin, or it's just gonna literally.
Oh shit!
watching
I just
Skynet-
realized the
just
analogy.
watching Skynet be born is amazing. Just people have like, stop, please stop, please. for the
What
love
if
of
you
God,
get
stop.
the Neuralink and you put that sort of connection to the brain to the chip, which is essentially an AI, but it trains off your own memories. That's essentially like what we would need to do to use AI to like as personal assistants.
Well, that would
Well,
be
yeah,
Neuralink
that's
would
one
do
of the
that.
things.
down.
Yeah, that's one of the
That's
things.
way down the road. Right now, Neuralink is.
By
we have
hold on.
1,000
hang on. When you say down the road, you're talking about a few years. You know, Musk is starting his own, already has his own AI um, product as well. It's just not available to the public.
Yeah, no, I know that,
So
but what I'm saying
this is
is,
like, I wouldn't say it's
n-
down the road. I would say it's around the corner at this point.
I don't know. Right now, Neuralink is like what 1,000 points of contact in the brain, and what they're trying to do, what the clinical studies that they'd be using it for is, I'm paralyzed, and maybe they'll run wires that will bypass the broken part of the spinal column, the spinal cord, so that I can
That's
walk
one of
again,
the
or
claims.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, all it is basically, if you're paralyzed, someone cut that cord between your brain and your limb or whatnot,
Peripheral, yeah.
or whatever. So, you're rerouting wires. You're taking the signal from the brain, you're reading that with the chip, and then the chip is sending that signal through an implanted wire or, you know, Bluetooth or whatever the fuck to your muscles it's basically bridging that gap in your spinal cord. So that's what they're that's what at least the initial um, the clinical trials are going to be. So I mean, that's why I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe, if that can't be done, you have a basic exoskeleton that lets you walk and move your arms, and you can control that by thought.
So much chafing.
Hmm?
What?
From the
What?
exoskeleton moving your legs around.
Okay.
Come on, think
That's
about it.
You're thinking a
that's a
little bit.
yeah. You took that to a weird place, but okay. All right.
Use some talcum powder or something. I don't know. Fucking. Jesus.
Finally asking the
Something's
important
happening.
questions about
Yeah.
planting chips in our brain.
I figured I
Yes.
would try and segue,
Yes.
or like I was throwing spitballs at the little train, model
You
train
should,
to knock it off
you should go to the
tracks.
next. You should go to the next time they have like a showcase when Musk is speaking on stage, and just be like, "I have a question. What about the chafing,
How are you
though?"
going to address chafing?
Yeah, be like, "Okay, so we're building a new rocket to go to Mars. Yeah, yeah, that's great. But what
But
if chafing
wait,
happens on
no.
Mars, though?"
You, wait, you got to do it like that British comedian with the straight face and goes in and has like really serious conversations. But
Kunk?
but Elon Musk, uh, what if
Have to say
what
it
are
with
you
a
going
British
to do
accent.
to address? No, I can't do it. What are you going to do to address the chafing that will occur?
Yeah.
And then just keep that face.
Will
But
the
you have to come up with more.
exoskeleton like automatically dispense like little bursts of talcum powder every 60 seconds or something like that?
Yeah, can you imagine the welts if your leg's totally paralyzed and it's just like to your body? Can you imagine someone
I
grabbing your legs and just like fucking moving it?
I think you should spend $8 on Twitter to buy a blue check mark so you can ask Elon Musk that question directly.
Good
Like,
thought.
Nah,
yeah, my
I'm
my
done.
friends and I were just talking last night, and I have a question. Okay, all right. Jerry, you got anything else? Anything else you and Jeff discussed that you'd like to share with the group?
Well, I have to use the bathroom right now, and I'm sure I probably said that back then also, after several beers.
Wait, you did?
Okay.
Oh,
No, I think he has to. I don't think he actually did.
That's
all right. So
that's a segue
so
to
I'm going to be right back, us.
There you go.
Don't forget to mute everybody.
And
Otherwise,
we're still
Jerry.
talking. So, boop.
I mean, On
I'm
the
not.
on
I'm not following those conversations with anything I want to talk about.
really on the list, there's the 4 exclamation points after Diablo 4.
I didn't
Thought
put those. I didn't put those for.
really?
I didn't put those there.
Thoughts as a noob, second beta with 3 exclamation.
Oh, that was an old topic. That was before
Why
my
is it still
stomach
there?
bug and other things.
Yeah, I
I
think we
mean,
talked about that
at, the,
stuff.
at this point, Diablo 4 is coming out in a week or something like that. Um, yeah, there's really not much more to say about it at this point. The game is out soon. Just wait till it comes out and either play the shit out of it or don't. Hmm. I'm probably actually gonna have to hold off at this point.
Why is that?
Um, just it's a timing thing. I don't think I have time for Diablo 4 in my life right now. I barely have time to play other things.
Mm.
So, uh,
Kids, right? They fuck everything up.
they do. They're wonderful, but they're also the worst. So, I did actually the one that's actually one of the reasons because everybody kept saying the few people that I work with kept saying, "Oh, dude, you should get a Switch. You should get a Switch. Trust me, like just get a Switch. If you have a kid, like blah blah, just get a." So I finally broke down and got a fucking Switch. Um, and actually, that does make gaming a little more accessible, a little easier to do when you have a kid. That really is true. That really does sort of allow you to sort of just quickly grab something that's very mobile, play for a little bit, and then set it down and get back to life.
Like
That
you could
PC gaming and console gaming really doesn't let you do.
you could sit there in the bathtub. If the kid's in the bathtub and they start to drown, you have the time to put that down and like take them out of the water and stuff. Like
Yeah, because it suspends your gameplay, so you don't lose anything. You don't have to
right,
be.
yeah,
It's not like when you're playing on a PC or an Xbox, you'd be like, hold, just hold your breath. You're fine. Like, throw a snorkel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Treat this as a learning opportunity.
Wait, Daddy's just got to kill this boss, and then I'll save you.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, it's an
and you
online
have the
game.
handheld
Yeah.
there, and you
There's
could
no.
be like, you could open up a browser and be like, how do I give CPR?
Mhm.
You know,
Actually,
hold it.
Switch doesn't have a browser, but yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I don't have to yell like it's an online game, honey. There's no pausing. So, yeah, no, the Switch is great. I can totally, I can, now that I have it, I sort of do understand the appeal of it a little. Um, it's simple. It's fun. I don't really have that much to say about it. I don't really have any games for it. I just downloaded a bunch of demos and I'm definitely gonna play the new Zelda game on it. But for the most part, the library of games on the Switch is very different from what you find even on something like an Xbox or obviously on Steam. Um, the it's pretty impressive what they have on there, but overall, your best bet is the first party titles, the Nintendo stuff, your Mario's, your Mario's, your Zeldas, your Metroids, and stuff like that. And there's some decent collection of indie games you can pick up on there. But you're not going to get the biggest AAA graphically intensive titles that you get on consoles and PC, obviously. Although they do have, this is an interesting thing. So there's a bunch of games on there. One example of that is, for example, the new or one of the new Resident Evil games, where you play a cloud version of it, and it's not like Xbox cloud gaming where you pay a monthly subscription fee. You buy the game like you would buy any other game, but you play it via cloud service, whatever the company offers. So who makes Resident Evil? Is it it's Capcom, right? Yeah. So basically, like Capcom has their own servers that allow all Switch players to play um, a new Resident Evil game via streaming it from their servers.
Hmm.
So
That's cool.
it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, like I said, there's not much to say about it. It's fun. I'm gonna pick up a few games and just sort of keeps me entertained. Mostly, I'm gonna probably grab, except for Zelda, I'm probably just gonna grab some indie games that I can find on there. Indie developers do love the Switch because,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, their games are very like
lightweight,
yeah,
or lighter
yeah, they're lightweight.
800 gig download for all the assets and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. So don't forget, the indie people don't want to have physical media version of their games. So yeah, their games are just a couple of gigs and it runs well. So yeah.
Just a couple of gigs. That's funny. Because, I remember the old days of installing games that were on a 5.25-inch floppy.
Well,
And
yeah,
no,
but
I remember having a 5.25-inch floppy with multiple games on it.
see, I don't think that is interesting. I remember buying games that came on like seven of those three and a what is it, three and a
Yep,
quarter,
yep,
three and a half,
3.5.
3.5 inches. Like you needed to like a whole bunch of them,
Mm-hmm.
and some of these games you had to install first, but
Yep.
you still needed the discs to play them. So you would install it, you would launch it, your installer, and then you would have to sit there because you would say
Go
insert
through.
disc 2, insert disc 3,
Yep.
and then you go through all seven. And then as you're playing, you still need to insert disc 1, insert disc 2, and like Jesus fuck.
Yeah, or like disc one had the play files, the ones that you would get when you would, like that's the one that you had to keep in the hard drive, the
Right,
floppy
exactly. Yeah.
drive. I mean, to
Right. That's what I
play.
mean. You have to swap the discs as you're so in addition to swapping them as you're installing it, you still have to swap some of them out sometimes as you're playing the game. Um, I do remember though, man, back then copying games
Yep.
was
Well, yeah, that's what
so
like
easy. You
yeah,
just
I would
duplicate
have
the discs. Yeah.
yeah, or some of them the copy protection would be in the manual. It would be like like open up to page 4, paragraph 6, word
Yes, I
7,
remember. Right, right, right. Yeah. Oh my God,
or
I
like
remember that. Yeah.
so like I've had games that would have like a little wheel with like 2 sections, and you would like it would be like line up blue tortoise, and you'd line them up and it would give you a number or word or everything. But yeah, a
Oh
lot
my
of them
God,
were like
I
super easy.
remember that.
Like I would have 5.25-inch discs with multiple games copied on them, and then you could spend like $15 on a device that would punch a notch, the Write Protect notch. It
Yeah.
would punch that on the other side so that you could flip the disc over and you could fit twice as much stuff on it. And then you realize that you could just
That I don't
take,
remember.
I remember that,
Oh,
you
I
could just
used to
take a
do that all
hole
the time.
punch, just take a
Hmm.
hole puncher and punch the hole or cut
Yeah.
out the notch,
Hmm.
and you got you doubled your 5.25-inch disc from like what 256K to 512K. It was ridiculous.
Damn.
Space for
You know what's
days.
you know what's crazy? There's still systems that run off of those discs, and there's like one company that still makes them,
That's
and
fucked up.
that's like their whole business model. No, but what's surprising is that like they don't make like 10 or 20 of these discs. They sell like a few mil a year. Like there's
What
enough
are they
systems
being
still.
used for?
I don't
That's
know.
so
I'd have to look
crazy
this
that
up.
they can't upgrade whatever system is using it.
It's not that I don't. You know what? I don't know if it's a matter that they can't. They don't need to. It's running so well. There's just no need to. If it ain't broke, why?
But it's,
It
I
introduces
mean,
such
essentially
levels. It
the
introduces new
cost.
levels of complexity. No, that's the thing. This it's apparently. Look, I don't know. I'd have to look up who's still using them. But I mean, there's companies, there's places that still use what do you call them? Those tape drives. That's still a thing. Those are actually
My
still
company
more
uses
widely
them
used.
for backups.
Yeah. See, there you go. And
Yeah, but
that's
that's
ancient.
different. It's an ancient technology, but
So
it's
is tape
a
backups, dude. Tape backups are not a thing anymore.
I mean, they are.
Not as I mean,
they are.
not as much as
I'm
five and a
saying
quarter, but still.
no, like five. So no, I'm saying yes. The general tape backup technology is old, but the actual implementation of it has been updated. So you will get
Oh, I see. Okay.
tape drives that hold terabytes or petabytes of information.
Mhm.
I don't think you're getting 100 gig on a 5.25 inch floppy.
Oh my god,
Right.
that'd be amazing.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay. That is quite interesting. So yeah, so the Switch is good, but doesn't have as much memory as a five and a almost as much storage as a 5.25.
So much. So much.
It is interesting though when you do play some of the games because people constantly say, well, the Switch is essentially an incredibly outdated Android tablet or Android phone. It's hard to explain. There are a lot of games for it that definitely have a very sort of mobile gamey feel for it
Yeah.
in there, and a lot of companies that do make specifically mobile games do port them to the Switch because why not? It's easy, and they sell them for like $1 or something.
Does the Switch run on Android?
Yes, it runs on a very, very forked version of Android, which is also, by the way, why it's fairly simple to jailbreak a Switch and just put Android on there.
Oh, that's cool.
So people have turned them into Xbox cloud machines for, I'm not really sure why you would do that because you're basically, you're no longer, at least from what I understand, I don't think you're any longer able to play Switch games if you do that. And there seems to be, I would say there's easier ways to rig an xCloud device.
Could you dual boot it?
I'm not
If you
sure.
could dual boot it, then that's, what is that, 30 seconds to switch over?
It's a good point. I'm gonna guess yes. Also, apparently, I didn't know about this, but if you buy an older Switch, or perhaps if you have one, wink wink, if maybe you or your kid has an older Switch,
Don't
wink
know who
wink.
you'd be talking about, but go on.
Yes, there's a very simple app you can get on your PC which allows you to rip games from the Switch and create ROMs, and then you can just play them on your PC.
That's kind of cool.
Yes. Apparently,
There's always that stuff floating around.
it's something Nintendo didn't really properly patch. It used to be even easier, but a friend of mine just did that. He thought that he was actually shopping around for an older Switch model which hasn't had its firmware updated. Apparently, back then you just hook up like a cable to it and just run this little client, and then you just rip whatever game you want. He has a newer Switch, but he said it still works. He just plugged it in and ran a newer version or a newer program, and he is basically playing the new Zelda games at like 4K, 120 frames on his PC, as opposed to playing it at 720 at 30 frames on his Switch. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's neat. Hey, speaking of which, since you guys know games, okay, so answer me this, right? You guys are computer knowledgeable people. So,
I've
The
seen
Legend
one
of
or two in my days.
yeah, you've played a few tower defense games, as I think we've clarified on the last episode. If a game is developed, right? So, like, let's take the new Zelda game as an example, Tears of the Kingdom. It's
Game
made
is
to run on.
developed, so it's not using a training bra or anything.
God. Very nice. It's made to run at 30 frames on the Switch, right? So somebody ROMs it. I'm not sure that's the right term, but whatever. Someone makes a ROM and then plays it on their PC at 60 frames, right? But the game isn't built to run at 60. So if they're running it at twice the frame rate, how is it that the game isn't running twice as fast? Like everything is happening twice as fast? I know this is an incredibly ignorant question. Again, as somebody who actually understands this stuff, probably just had a stroke. But can someone dumb it down and explain it to me? How that's is it the video card that places missing frames in? I legitimately don't understand how this process works. Like
So-
the game has 30 frames per second. Where are the extra frames coming from?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know because I don't do game development, so I kind of wonder that myself, but I think that there's two different mechanics. There's the actual gameplay clock that's like pulling input every however many milliseconds and actually runs the instructions. And I think
But
that
but it makes
side
the
of the
movement.
brain
Hang on,
sends.
but it makes the motion very smooth, as if it is running at 60 frames a second. So
It's totally
if
different.
timing is
Right,
unaffected,
It's
but
what
the
Jerry's saying.
smoothness is so, I guess,
That's just the
like,
video engine,
yeah,
and
it's like
it's upscaling basically, but not in resolution, in the frame, doubling.
right? So
so
my question is, how does that
imagine
doubling
you
happen? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
so imagine okay, think of it this way. Go like imagine watching someone dance. They're doing a dance, and that's the actual gameplay. That's you hitting WASD, you're moving this and that. Now, separate that from what the video card is doing. Now, take a strobe light and put it on that person who's dancing. And as you increase the video card, as you increase the frequency of the strobe, you see that person dance much smoother. They're still doing the same exact dance, just as you're seeing it in like 30 strobes per second or
Right,
60 strobes per second.
right. The
But
game
hold,
runs
That's
per
what
second.
makes the smoothness.
Yeah, it's
but that's because, hold on a second. But that's because the subject itself is moving at at a higher, let's say, quote unquote, frame rate. You're
no,
talking about,
no.
let's say, hold on. Let me, maybe, because if I explain better why I'm an idiot about all this, it'll be easier for you to dumb it down to my level. Because the way I'm looking at it, right, is, let's say you have Link in Zelda, right? He has an action. Let's say it's swinging a sword, right? So he moves his hand from top to bottom, swinging a sword. That action takes 1 second, and there's 30 frames. So it's literally his arm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way down to 30 as it moves through the motion of a stab. If there's only 30 frames of that action, and you play them at 60 frames a second, why is his arm not moving twice as fast?
Because
Where are those extra frames coming
the
from? Because if
the
it
extra
slowed it
frames
down, yeah.
are coming from the video card. So
So that was what I was asking.
the 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 main game engine goes to the video card and says, "Here, I'm swinging my arm. It should take this long." And the video card's like, "Dude, I got like 4,000 things to do. I could give you 5 frames." And that's when like shit looks choppy, you know? Or it's like, "Oh, this is easy. I could do it 30 no problem, I'll do that for 1 second." And then you get the high-end video cards that are like, "Dude, I could do this with one hand tied behind my
Yeah,
back.
I could do
So,
this all day.
you know what? I'll throw in some
Look,
free
Captain
frames.
America there.
It's fine."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they're two different things. It's just like, the video card says, "I can do this much stuff in this amount of time." Is it like, have you ever played a game where you're like going forward and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden you're there? It's the
Yeah,
game engine was moving you the whole time. The video card was like, "Oh my god, hold on,
but
wait, okay,
the
now
core
I
So
thing
got it."
here is you're not changing time. You're assuming double the picture, the calculated images. They just play them all in a second instead of playing it, playing the 30 at half a second, and then therefore getting 30 and a half second and 30. Like, it's not going faster. The
right,
program is still running the same speed. It's
so
just,
simple.
yeah.
No, I was going to say, a simple question: is the video card, or whatever it is it actually adding missing frames in between those others?
Yeah, because you just change the
Sure.
number from
Okay,
30 to 6. It's like,
that was my right.
how
Okay,
many pictures would you like me to generate for your
okay,
1 second action? 30
okay,
or
that's what I was
60?
wondering. Okay,
Yeah. And then
okay,
it just has to be a better manufacturing plant, like image
right. Okay,
generator. Um,
It's just the
that stuff
delta
is incredible.
between
That
whatever
stuff is.
movement.
That's incredible, though. Am I the only one who's just completely blown away by that? That
But
to me is amazing. The fact
think
that
of
a
it in
videographer can do that.
code. But you're
I
you're
can't.
so on the
I'm a
hard
graphic
drive.
designer.
Fuck.
I'm a visual person, so if you could
Connect.
draw this in crayon, that'd be great.
So let's say you have an ad, right? And you have a logo taking up a third of the space. And then you're like, I want content feature bullets in this upper right section. And you
That's
go
a
to
terrible hierarchy. Who the hell taught you graphic design?
do Ep7 that.
I see where you're going.
Bad positions.
I don't, but go ahead.
So I say to the department of give me features, like the sales department or the engineering department, I say, give me 3 features, the best ones, the ones that matter, right? And I'm going to put that. That's the designer saying, I have a box that's only 3 inches in the top corner. And so they're like, oh, I'm going to make them big, bold, 3 bullets.
Hey,
but then
there's nothing wrong with just having 3 inches.
Sure. So then someone says, you know what, for our company, that's fine. You go work at another company, but in our company, we need 6 bullets in that same 3-inch space. So then just think of it as nothing is video. I'm saying now you're asking the content team, the sales team, the function. So in code, it would be like a function call. But that's AKA the video engine, and then it just outputs, but they offshore them to the video card, whatever. That's how that shit works. What I'm saying now is, okay, sales team, instead of 3 big bullets, I'm going to do 6 smaller font bullets in the same 3-inch space. But I need you to give it to me in the same 1 second. Go.
Okay.
So now they just have to get creative faster.
Gotcha.
But you didn't change your overall design of the whole ad.
Right. I get it. Yeah. I think that's.
I don't know.
I think
Hopefully
that's amazing.
a good metaphor.
I think that's amazing. And speaking of cramming extra frames where they don't belong, something I brought up earlier. There's going to be there's going to be more Fast and Furious movies. They're going to insert a whole bunch of frames where they don't belong.
I heard it went to 3 for the last and final.
I think it's funny that people already were like, dude, you're really splitting like the last movie into 2 parts. Do we really need this? Can't you just wrap it up? But he's like, no. This is such an epic storyline. We need 2 movies. And then like people were just like,
and then
they were interviewing at the premiere. They were interviewing him during the premiere, and they're like, so, yeah, this is an epic story. He's like, yeah, it's definitely going to take like all 3 movies to tell it. Wait, what? There's 3 movies now? If they don't stop interviewing Vin Diesel, this is gonna very quickly be 5 movies and 10 movies
10.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And by the way, just as I predicted, he's already talking about spin-offs. He's already saying, first of all, there's going to be right. Well, so my prediction was that because of Vin Diesel's ego, I said that the first movies that would come out after the main Fast and Furious movies were over would be like solely focused on his character. So there'd be something like Toretto, like that would be like the way what's the name of that movie? No, what's the name of the Riddick movie? The first Riddick movie? What the hell was it called?
The Pitch Black?
Yeah, it was called Pitch Black, and then it became Riddick. It became about him, right? It just became focused on him. So like now that was like Fast and the Furious. Now it's going to be like Toretto. Like so I think that's going to be the first spin-off. Supposedly, what's already in the works is there's going to be an all-female version of Fast and Furious, which okay,
of course they will.
Right, there's going to be that, and then there is talk that they're going to focus on his father before that whole thing happened. So I don't know. I just as a huge fan of the Fast and Furious movies, I would be more than happy if they just stopped. Just it's good. Let's just it's fine. Like the movies have peaked.
Remember them with fond memories.
Oh my god. Speaking of movies and fathers, so I took the kids to see The Machine this weekend.
Oh god, I hate you. I want to see that movie so bad.
Oh my god. So I watched the original teaser when it first came out, and I avoided all the other trailers. I didn't know anything about the movie,
There
until
was only
like,
there was only one more trailer. It didn't really reveal that much, but
well, the day of the movie, I realized I learned who the co-star was,
oh, you didn't
and
realize Mark Hamill was in it?
I didn't know Mark Hamill was in it, and I figured he was in it for
Nice.
like 30 seconds, you know.
No,
He's
he's
in the
like
whole
the
fucking movie,
yeah, he's
and
one of the main
like
characters.
I love Mark Hamill, and of course after like watching this movie, I love him even more. He's so good in whatever he does, and I love Bert Kreischer, and he was I thought he was great in the movie. I thought the movie was hilarious. It was ridiculous. It was completely
Nice.
stupid,
That's
and it was
exactly
like
what I wanted
two
to hear.
hours of pure fun.
Awesome. That's all I want out of it.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great. Highly recommend. You know, I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes and thing when I was in the theater, and it had like a 91%, and I was like, that tracks.
Oh, he's loved, dude. People love Kurt. Is it Bert or Kurt Krish?
Bert,
I can't, Bert
Bert,
Kreishner? Kreishner? God,
Kreischer,
oh, okay,
Kreischer.
yeah. People fucking love him.
Oh
Come on,
yeah.
he's lovable. And yeah, so when you put him and Mark Hamill on the screen together,
Oh my god.
come on.
Oh my god. It was hilarious.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, I can't.
And like, so Thursday night, my son was graduating, and unfortunately,
You
that
had to go?
night, no, yeah, I did. We wanted to skip out. There was like the graduation didn't end until like 9:30. At 9 o'clock, there was a special live broadcast of the movie, like narrated or with an interview or something. It was an extra half hour with Bert Kreischer, and we
Wait, he
couldn't
was
see it.
there?
It was like a live stream kind of thing.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know
All right.
where he was, but it was like if the movie was 2 hours, this was 2.5 hours. So I don't know if he was
Nice.
talking before, during, or at the end. I know nothing about it. We
Okay.
didn't get to it. We were hoping to, but that would have been super cool to see. I should look out on the interwebs to see if there's something out there, or
Okay.
hopefully when they release it on streaming, they'll release that version too. But
Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I really, really want to see it. Uh, Only movie I've seen recently was what the hell did I just? Oh, finally watched. What's her name? What's it called? The Dungeon and Dragon movie, Honor Among Thieves.
oh, yeah.
I finally got to see
How
it.
did you like?
Did you guys ever see it?
Yeah, I
Yes.
saw it.
You saw it? It was okay. It was passable. It was one of those movies that I would
It was
say I
campy.
liked it. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it falls very much into the forgettable category. Like it's done. I've seen it in a year. I'm not even going to remember a single freaking detail about it. Um,
Yeah, but I
it
think
was
if
fine.
it's fine on its own. But I think if you play D&D, you're a
Oh, I'm
D&D
sure.
fan,
Every time they're talking about
you'll
like
get the vibe.
characters and battles and Baldur's Gate, I'm sorry, and everything else, I was just like, oh, I'm missing 99% of the references. Like
Yeah.
the nerds are jacking it to this movie, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yes.
okay, I've heard of Baldur's
It's
Gate. Yeah, that's
it
great.
touched. It didn't just honor the fans. It brought, like, it acted out what essentially are memes. So like
That's what I assumed, right?
meta stuff, like so it was very clever the way they did it. In
Yeah,
my
I mean, there
opinion,
was a
from that
few. I
experience
mean, I was
perspective.
thoroughly entertained. Um, Chris Pine is fucking great. I love
Yeah.
him. Um, I mean, everybody was really
I
good.
mean, it carried that movie.
Yeah, he did. I absolutely like. I laughed my ass off at the fucking overweight dragon thing. That whole
Mhm.
scene. I was giggling like an idiot the entire time. That was freaking hilarious. The thing where the the hologram projection of him playing the harp as he starts to like melt down, like that whole thing was friggin' hilarious towards the end. It was great. I mean, it was like I said, it was very entertaining. Hugh Grant is awesome. Just
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Apparently, the scene where the paladin they're on the beach and the paladin walks away, like that was all ad libbed. They told him to like walk, and he was like walking
oh,
super straight, and they started teasing him, and like they were like, "What's he gonna do?" Like that, all that is he
And he
gonna
just
walk
walked on
over
the
that
rock.
rock? That was like
Yeah.
completely
Yep.
ad libbed because he
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, I'll keep." They were like, "How long is he going to do this?" And no one called cut, and because
Right.
everyone else was joking around, and he kept walking. So
it was great. I'm trying to remember some of the other moments. Yeah, it was good. I would love if there was a sequel. Apparently, there will not be because somehow that movie made something like $400 million, but was a financial disaster and lost a lot of money. I don't know. I don't understand this
What?
industry. Yeah, the movie bombed according to their metrics. Don't ask me to explain it. I don't get how any of this works. It's when movies are made at that scale, the amount of money apparently they have to make is so massive that making back.
It's that, and it's marketing, and who knows what.
It's a combination of marketing and it's a combination of the fact that theaters get like 50% of, or something like that, about 50% of what the movie makes. So the rough metric is that the movie has to make at least twice as much as what it cost in order to make money. So this movie was actually very
50%
expensive.
margin.
Right. So this movie apparently cost almost like 300 movies at its point just cost an absurd amount of money. So this movie cost about just south of 300 mil to make, and it made, yeah, like I said, 400, maybe 450 million worldwide. So it bombed by their expectations, and no, there will not be
Which is
a sequel
sad.
to it.
And like,
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a
that's
follow up. There's some great characters in it, and the world building is amazing.
yeah,
It was great. I would
It's
I
all
would watch these
canon.
over and over.
and that's the tangible metric. So how do these companies figure out shit like stuff that goes right to streaming, or once it goes to streaming? Like, how do they? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know
know they
because
have metrics on like how many hours it's been viewed or whatnot, but does that mean that, like, how does that translate into new subscribers, or how do you get
Just
that?
AI that shit.
yeah, they do.
not
That's how like
a-
Netflix determines things. So the way supposedly the simplest way to explain is that they determine whether or not a property, as far as streaming is concerned, they determine whether or not a property brought in new subs or not. It's not just how many people watched it, it's how many people saw it and said, "Ooh, I want to watch it," and then how many of those people like stuck around. So that all matters, which is why like you have certain Netflix shows that are really seemingly very popular, and then they get suddenly canceled after one season. And when they ask Netflix, like, "Wait a minute, hang on a second, like this got really great viewership, why is it canceled?" They're like, "Well, because the only people who watched it are existing users. No one new signed up for the service to watch it. So our goal is to grow, not to stagnate. So we're gonna can this and try the next thing, which will hopefully bring in new subscriptions."
right, but at what point are they going to hit a wall? I'm sure that's got to be like an asymptotic line of who can become a new subscriber.
And that is where we find ourselves these days, where Netflix suddenly goes, "Hey, guess what? You can no longer share passwords
Yeah.
because Netflix has hit that wall."
You have to.
They're in trouble now because no, they are not picking up any new subscribers anymore. They're actually losing subs now. So the only thing they have is to now say the people that are watching are gonna have to have their own accounts because we're done. That's it.
And
but
if you
that's
think
only
about
going to
it,
get them so far. Also, then they're
Right.
going to hit the next wall.
Yeah.
it's
Yes,
actually going to
welcome
become
to
like a negative
welcome to
pressure.
unchecked capitalism.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Because it's a giant Ponzi scheme. What?
Yeah, that's why exactly. That's why they keep raising prices. They only have two options. They have to find a new way to create new subs and or raise prices. But they can only raise the prices so high until until the users start dropping off. And once they start dropping off, they're like, okay, we can't raise the prices any higher. So now we are forced to find new reasons or like bring in new people that wouldn't have previously subscribed. And the way Netflix is doing it is they're kicking people off the shared accounts.
Look at it this way. Imagine for every one account, there's 5 shares, and they probably statistically analyzed it. Maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, maybe it's more. What do I know?
It's more.
So if all of a sudden let's say it's 6, you're creating the source pool of potential subscribers. You're multiplying it by 6. So if there's all the people, if you're very heavy market saturation and you're like 20 million out of 30 million potential or 25 million potential, you just took 25 and multiplied by 6, and now it's 1.5 million or whatever it is, and now all of a sudden growth potential can expand at a faster acceleration, even if you've now changed your brand model and you're going to have like less upper percentage cap.
Right.
So what's interesting is, it's number one, somebody definitely is all in on this and thinks it's like the way they'll get to growth. And so there'll be naysayers, and there'll be even more percentage of people actually canceling, because they think what'll happen is could be perceived as caring less about active subscribers. They don't, it sort of damages the image, and then
you're removing value from your product, basically.
Right. Yeah, totally. And then, but even less percentage overall, but like with a greater pool to draw from, it's going to be a positive growth.
We'll see. I don't know. I unfortunately think that yes, there will be positive growth, which
we're all just going to have a bitter taste on the channel.
Well, I mean, they're not going to retain everybody. My family is canceling. Like, we share a Netflix account, and the thing is, like, once they like back in the day, Netflix I think cost something like $8-9 a month, which was amazing, and then it went up to like $12 a month, 13, whatever. This day and age, I think the account that my family has is something like I forget. It's like $18 a month or something like that. And there's only like 3 households that use it. It's I use it, my sister uses it, and my dad uses it. So when the price went up to a certain point, we were all like, well, yeah, $18 versus what it used to cost is quite a hike, but there's 3 households using it, so that's definitely worth the money. At this point, we're not gonna keep it because the value there is gone. With so many different streaming services, the fact that you're keeping each of them around for like a few movies and like 1 or 2 shows, that doesn't really make any sense. I'll be fine without the couple of things that I watch on Netflix.
What they need to do is actually lower the price, and they can, like, if everyone right now is
well, they did in a way
18,
because they did in a way because you can add a user. So let's say, like, yeah, if you get there's one plan that allows you to add users. I think it's like the $16 a month plan, and then for like $8 or $9 per household, you can add those extra users. So, that's, I think, their approach. They're saying, yeah, you can still share your account, but that other household now has to pay like 8 or so.
And you'll actually get a discount for doing it.
Right. So your $16 account now becomes a $24, $25 account,
which is really like 12 per. So instead of 16 per house, it's 12 per house. Like, the per house price goes down because it's a savings to spread it out. But that's interesting that they actually are incentivized. I guess they're just looking to replace the current model with a new pay model.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I could justify it. I could say, well, I did just say that back in the day I paid, $8 or $9 a month to get Netflix, so I can go back to paying $8 or $9 a month to get Netflix. But
well, look at it this way.
I also don't want to play the fucking game.
Yeah, but the person paying the 16, they might actually keep the account because it went down to 12.
It doesn't go. No. It doesn't go down to 12. They still have to. No, they still have to pay their 16. That's the whole thing. They can't drop down to a cheaper price tier. They have to keep that one.
Oh, they don't want to. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So that's to make sure they don't lose cash flow. That would
Right.
be
So
worse cash flow.
right. So then you're stuck in this awkward thing. Like if it's a family thing, then yeah, they're I think expecting that parents will go, well, okay, I guess we'll keep paying the extra few bucks a month so that our kids can keep using Netflix. But if you're sharing among some people share you got to remember some people share their accounts across households that aren't necessarily family members. They just have an agreement like, hey, all of us pitch in, $5-6 a month, and we all get Netflix. Now you have to go to this weird thing. It's like, well, I'm now paying $16 a month, and you're paying $9 a month. So now we gotta like recalculate that whole thing. People aren't gonna want to do that, and they have that weird. They added a ad supported tier, which is like $6 a
Really?
month, I think. Yeah, but no, don't get excited. First of all, you get ads. Second of all, you don't get everything they carry. Certain
Right.
shows and movies are excluded from that, and you really don't know which ones until you try to watch it and it says, go fuck yourself.
That
So,
can be frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna honestly, like, I, I doubt, like, I told my parents who we split the account with them. I was like, look, I'm not paying the extra $9, and I think you guys should just cancel. Honestly, at this point, it's almost like the principle of it. And yeah, I know some people are sitting there going like, oh, this is pure entitlement. Like
But
you
you
want a
really,
service, pay for it. But I also don't like when companies take away certain features or value of their service just because they are beholden to this, to the stockholders and have to keep growing at a certain pace. So they're gonna come to me, somebody who's been using their service for a prolonged amount of time, and say, well, you now can't do this one thing that you've been able to do this whole time because we need to make more money.
yeah, they hurt their brand by doing this.
Right.
It hurts. It hurts the current user because it's actually um, a
Yeah, look, if
nerf.
they added something, honestly, if they added something and they said, hey, you know what? If you pay the extra sum, I don't know. I can't imagine what their value add would be. But if they did come out with something that would make it more worthwhile to me or more valuable to me, then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. You're asking me to pay more money, but you're also giving me a possible reason. They're not providing me with anything new. In fact, they usually tend to. I can't. It's actually really hard to invest in any Netflix property because, as I mentioned before, the metrics that they use to keep or cancel shows are so strange and so closed off to the public eye that I never know what's going to be canceled. Like that show, I think we talked about it earlier. That show, 1899, was that it?
Yeah.
From the same people that made Dark. Like I couldn't wait to watch that. I was so excited to watch that. Thankfully, I didn't invest in sitting there and watching the entire season because Netflix just suddenly said, you know what, we're just canceling after one year. There's the show's left on a cliffhanger. There's no explanation. And if you're somebody who, let's say, for example, you're somebody who's like, well, I don't know if I want to keep Netflix. I don't want to know if I keep paying for it. And then the show comes along and you invest the time and money into keeping Netflix so you can watch the show. Once they cancel it, you're like, well, what the fuck was the point of that? I could have just canceled Netflix a few months ago and not bothered with this crap to begin with.
Well, not
So,
only that, but I mean, then think of it from the studio point of view. If you're a studio and you're entertaining a couple of different, um, you know, streaming platforms, and you're like, well, Netflix has a habit of just canceling shit for no particular reason. As the studio, you're probably going to go with someone who's maybe a little bit less fickle. So, what does that do with their, um, are they shooting themselves in the foot with their options for future shows,
well,
future
that's a good
movies?
question
I don't
because
think so. The producers,
Dis,
yeah,
yeah, well, it's possible. So Disney and HBO are now kind of in that boat because HBO started. HBO once they merged with Discovery. I guess there is no HBO really anymore. It's not called Max.
Max.
It was just yeah. It's like
it's stupid.
guys, HBO was the brand,
HBO, yeah, it's been around
like
forever.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck the thinking there was, but
What's
anyway,
wrong with
so
you?
they not only canceled a bunch of shows, they also removed a bunch of movies and shows. And now Disney Plus is doing the same thing, where they are removing a ton of movies and shows from Disney Plus. They're like, the cost of keeping them on our service is a hit to us that we don't want to deal with anymore. So, for example, one of the shows, like one of the newer things that are being removed, is the new Willow show, which not only was it canceled after one season, but they're also taking it entirely off the service. And some of the people and the people that are involved in producing the show, and some of the others that are getting completely yanked, are very vocally speaking out now about it, saying, you know, you're talking about hundreds of people that spent time working on this. Some of these were in production during COVID. Some of us went through little hell to make these projects come to life, and after 6 months, they're just deleting it off the internet as if they
Did
never existed.
did they
Like
get
that's
paid for
shit.
their work?
Uh, yeah, but come on.
But so that's
That's
what they're thinking. Uh,
that's
I
you
don't
can't.
think I actually sell it wholeheartedly. I'm kind of mocking it a little bit. But
Yeah,
that's
you.
what they're thinking. They're like, you were a cost and we paid you.
But
Sorry,
that's actually
your
that's
little
what the
feelings are hurt.
well, that's what the creators are sticking out about. They're speaking out about. They're saying the cost, the the payment to us, the worth, the value in this project to us is beyond the money. Yes, we got paid for it, but part of our quote unquote payment is to have this creation now exist in the world. And the fact that you just threw a bunch of money at us and are now deleting it is
Is it like not
devaluing what we
available at
did.
all because the rights are stuck behind the like dead wall?
No, no, no. It'll just be. I think it'll just be removed from Disney Plus. First of all, I think there's talk that they're going to put some of it on Hulu. Some of it might be available for purchase. I don't know I don't know what deals. The problem is they haven't figured it out as well. Streaming is still relatively, even though it's been around for a few years via things like Netflix and Hulu. A lot of these newer companies are actually still trying to figure it out. Because the problem is they have millions of viewers, but they're not making a ton of money. Like Netflix is making a lot of money. HBO and Disney Plus, I think, are still losing money.
Well, I mean that's why they're merging. They're trying to add more content to like get bigger.
Right. So Disney Plus and Hulu are merging into one thing now, just like HBO and Discovery did.
Oh, Disney and Hulu. Wow,
Yes,
I
they're going
didn't
to be
know.
merging into one app.
Dulu.
Max Est.
Is-
Oh, we got him beat, guys. It's the most Max. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of these business decisions are made, by very numbers, data, and money oriented people. There's going to be some weird things happening in the next few years while they try to figure this out. And also, don't forget this whole thing with Netflix as far as playing along with their password sharing bullshit. If that succeeds, you realize the next week they're all going to be doing this.
oh, sure.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So,
read an article where like streaming has finally died kind of concept where it's like, oh, they just jumped the shark. The company's got to
well,
the
it just
threshold that
became
changes the game.
Well, it just became cable again. That's what when I was saying when everybody was running around years ago saying, "Oh, cord cutting, we got it, guys. We figured out how to beat the man. We're cord cutters. We're cord cutting. Look at us go. We're cutting all the cords." And I was like, "Dude, you're just creating another version of cable. In a few years, it's going to be as bad, if not worse. What the fuck are you people doing?" And here we are. We're back to cable, or worse.
Yeah, it is worse because it's more fragmented, and now it still costs the same for
Yeah,
each add-on.
and now you need to sign up for apps to watch free television as well. So we still get commercials, but now we have to pay for it and get apps. Awesome.
Mhm.
Gotta hate people.
Well, that's capitalism.
Damn
Capitalism is
capitalism.
basically dying or killing itself, I should say.
I I don't know. That's a whole. That's a worthwhile discussion. I would say it's killing us. I don't know if it's killing itself, but I guess once we all die off, what is it going to survive on?
Well,
Oh wait,
because
AI. Never
everything's
mind.
fractured.
AI. Yeah, no AI. It's fine. They're going to upload us to machines so we
D-
can live forever
Do you
and work
realize?
forever.
Do you
The
realize?
AI.
Hold on. They right now, I was listening to some guy talk. Maybe it was on TED, but I'm gonna have to paraphrase it because I don't think I can source it. Right now, there are companies working on prompts to essentially ask an AI to make content
Hmm.
and then self-analyze which, like, you know so, let's say they make just a churn content, and then it's like the ones that hit, like, let's say it's social media posts, it's
Hmm.
random blog posts, and this one goes viral and hits like 2 million views, and like that was a good revenue. So they want the AI to become self-aware of its own creations and which ones are working against the humans, like in causing like greater rewards, and then learn what made that happen, and then keep propagating that into like an engine that, like, the cost to run the AI to content create and self-analyze, as, like, as you build it up into personas. Like,
Hmm.
you can tell chat gpt to, like, pretend you're this kind of person and you're analyzing the market, and like, you can really get involved, and it knows how to substructure itself into the persona. So you basically turn it into its own company that's self-sustaining, and it's all running in virtual, just posting fucking content that has higher chances of, like, being seen by us.
Kevin.
That, yeah.
Kevin. Stop giving them ideas.
Well, I read an article, so I'm just, I guess, doing his marketing for him.
Okay.
But like, that's the scary stuff. Is the way that, companies will just have a whole bunch of AI engines giving, like, multiple fucking content news
I'm going
outlets.
to take it one further because AI is taking over. We're going to have AI pretty soon creating content, analyzing content for AI to watch. So there you go.
Whoa, that's so meta.
Wow, they just watched their guinea pigs in the matrix of the called the real world.
There you go. Hey, but speaking of which, since we talked about, I forgot to mention, since we were talking about the whole thing before about immortality and stuff, I was actually going to mention, sorry, I know I'm segueing a little, but this conversation reminded me of that.
No,
Um, Peter, do you guys know who Peter Thiel is?
I do
Peter
not.
Thiel?
I've heard of that name.
Okay, he's a horrible
By the way,
person.
I hope this next
He's
segment isn't too big because it's getting late.
Oh no, I'll make it really quick. So Peter Thiel is a terrible human being. You can look him up on your own. But a long story short, his approach to immortality is that shortly before he dies, he plans to. So like as he's dying, he's planning to cryo freeze himself. That's his step, and he's hoping that he's going to take the Futurama approach, where he hopes that like in the future they're going to unfreeze him once they find the cure
Right,
for.
whatever.
Actually, it's not Futurama. It was a Simpson episode where they froze Mr. Burns, and they're talking about how he's still like they do a in the future episode, and they said they'll unfreeze him as soon as they find the cure for 47 stab wounds. So that's kind of like the thing with Peter, right? So like that's the thing with Peter Thiel. He's hoping that yeah, once they figure out how to actually keep people alive for much longer, they're gonna thaw him and he can live. That I think is a way more interesting idea than the transcendence thing because that will be him being
Sure.
unleashed onto the world,
To finish
and
being a
he's gonna
narcissist, or some
yeah,
kind of
and he's gonna
psychopath.
yeah, and he's gonna have to learn how to use the three seashells in the future, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that was sorry, that was just like my weird little segue.
No, it is an interesting thing for that whole idea to sort of time teleport while you're, like, in critical condition in
Yeah,
stasis, and then wake back up when you can get healed.
yeah.
That's interesting.
By the way,
There's all kinds of that shit on the brink.
yeah, I
On
mean,
what? Oh,
all the billionaires today are like I said, they're looking for the solution to death, and I'm pretty sure they're all going to be. Oh, all the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk of the world, they're not just going to accept death. They're going to basically
no.
pick a way to keep going, whether it's the cryo thing or the transcendence thing. They're not accepting death. Are you kidding me? The ego in these people.
But you realize there's, let's say, academic industries, or maybe they're private academic like research, but there's articles already like we found out how to reverse aging and like uh, cater it to just like the eyeball organ, in rats or something. So like then that's going to take how long? The rest, it's there. Now we just sludge through culture. You know what I mean? Like, when does it become ethically approved to, like, fuck with somebody and do clinical trials? Like we were just talking about Neuralink, right?
Yeah.
How many years did it take for them to pass that? So the resistance is like the cultural resistance to it actually happening. But my point is, the seeds are already growing of what you're
See, I
talking
think
about.
I think the biggest flaw in the plan for something like Peter Thiel is that society is going to collapse, and he needs electricity to keep himself frozen.
Mhm.
And I think at some point he's just going to thaw and horribly die when
Peter
society
Thaw.
implodes.
Well, I guess if you're gonna die anyway, and you have the money, who cares? Take the chance. Freeze.
What I want to know is why would he wait until he's at the pain of death and totally freaking dissolving in his
Because
psyche
there's
to be
well because
frozen,
there's well
only
because
to
there's
be
no
woken up
guarantee.
and going crazy?
Well, because there's no guarantee that this will work. So if you do it now, you're basically killing yourself.
Yeah.
Will you still have years of life left?
That's a good fucking point. But still, you
I'm not saying he's going to be
snapshotting
like,
pain.
yeah, but I mean,
Or
you can
maybe
sort of.
like, hey, Kevin, you've got stage 4 cancer. You didn't know about it, but when you came in to get your that dental X-ray,
That, I mean, that's
so
within
and that's when
parameters.
that's when you're like, okay, do
Did,
it now.
when we're having a thought experiment, don't give me like the most logical solution. We're trying to poke holes in it by going like into the extremes. So that's why I'm coming up with the really crazy shit.
I mean, he could be. He could. Here's an example. He could get into a car accident, and he could have a thing in his like will that says, "If I am on a respirator, don't unplug me, freeze me."
Yeah. No, I totally. The biggest flaw in the whole theory is you no longer guarantee that you'll make it because, like, you could have an insta death. You could like get
Right.
in a car accident and
Right.
it goes on fire before they save you. So no, there's no, yeah, freeze the ash.
47 stab wounds, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Right.
Oh, I mean, essentially, at that point, you'd have to have cloning technology, which I guess could work if you could retrieve any DNA from the accident.
Yeah,
Oh
but then
God,
that goes back
cloning.
to our original thing where you're making a copy of it, but is that consciousness there?
I kind of beg to
Is
differ.
the
The DNA.
And that segues. If you make a soulless copy of something, isn't that just another Fast and Furious
No,
movie?
soul is still the
Which-
universal conscious, which is
We've
just
come in a
applying pressure
circle.
through each medium.
No, never mind.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
I'm just cycling through all the topics.
Yep.
Still family.
Wait, I wanna end on something that's comical, and unfortunately, like I can't link in like any kind of audio. But did you hear about the like a recent? I think it's official, or maybe it's fan made. Harry Potter, like AI written new book, and it only got trained on the previous novels, or maybe like some basic structure, and then but in terms of content, it had to like take all of the existing novels, and then that's the new one.
Okay, so I
And
have three things. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
well, have you heard of it?
No,
No.
but I have three things to say about that.
Okay.
The first thing is that since you're talking about content creation and this whole thing, as you know, there's a writer strike now. Disney's actually having AI write future shows and movies, so that when the writer strike is over, the only thing they're going to need writers for is to just come in and fix things and tweak them.
Yeah.
But they're actually not pausing production; they're just having AI creation. The second thing is, as far as you're talking about, it's possible. However, J.K. Rowling did say that she's going to be writing brand new Harry Potter books. So I'm not really sure why they would need AI
But
creation.
it's funny
But
though.
but
It's
if
like
you're
not
talking about
real.
right, no, oh, if it's not real, then maybe. But
What I mean is
my
it's
thing
not
is that
canon, kind of. It's like a satire
it's a,
type of.
it's fan fiction.
Effectively fan fiction.
Fiction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So it's 50 Shades of Grey featuring Harry Potter. So the thing is, then um,
It kind of is.
Erecto enormous.
take
Yeah,
nice.
my point is I was exposed to some of it, and it's actually really fucking entertaining to listen to or read.
Well, the thing is, when you're saying like new Harry Potter books that are based on analysis of previous Harry Potter books, considering the fact that the original Harry Potter books are just a huge fucking ripoff of existing books, it's not that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So it's a copy of a copy of a copy?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Okay,
mean, the
so
AI came up with some funny shit. Is the point?
oh, I mean, I'm sure
It's
and so
nonsensical.
did,
It's
and
entirely nonsensical. It would not pass the Turing test.
well, if you want to watch a really interesting AI creation, is there is a channel on Twitch. Um, I'd have to send it to you. I forget what it is.
Oh fuck.
Basically, it's programmed to study existing episodes of Seinfeld and make all new episodes of Seinfeld. And it uses
Oh my God.
pixel weird. It's really weird AI pixelated art. I think it's called. I'll send it to you. I think it's called like a show about nothing or something like that. It's not actually called the Seinfeld show, but it's literally a Twitch channel that's running 24 hours a day that is just creating brand new episodes based on what it learned from watching Seinfeld. It doesn't make any sense. The jokes are horrible. None of them work.
Oh my god.
But
It's learning.
apparently.
And
But
it
apparently,
just,
yes.
it doesn't loop. It just creates new episodes.
No, it keeps creating. No, it just
constantly?
keeps going. It is an
Like
ongoing.
every
Yeah.
30 minutes or
Does it
something? Or...
statistically
I don't-
analyze the new creations to see like which ones are getting watched more frequently?
I don't know to which extent. I don't know if it's
Because
if
that would
it's
connect it.
I don't
It
know
would
if it's continuously learning.
no, yeah. No, but like what I'm getting into now is the theory crafting of how they can make it work. Is if they connect it back to real life by like how many views get a popularity of each
Right.
episode, it'll start to think of them as more successful, and then over time it should start to actually write good shit.
Maybe you'd have to watch it. Like I said, visually it's painful to watch because it's like I said, it's
Oh my god, that would
basically
be
like
awesome.
it's not using footage, it's auto generating weird almost like it almost looks like one of those old. Do you remember those old Sierra games like Leisure Suit Larry and
Yes,
stuff like
yeah.
that? It almost looks like it almost kind of looks like that maybe. And yeah, like I said, the dialogue doesn't make sense. The jokes don't land. None of it. It's just nonsense. But
Yeah.
it is in the vein of Seinfeld. So
And
just Google it. Just Google like Twitch channel AI Seinfeld, and
Yeah.
it'll take it.
what you're describing is what I was describing for the Harry Potter book thing.
Oh, okay. So there
Reading
you go.
it sounds exactly nonsensical, but it's using like character names and all that other. It's like
Okay, so it
knowing
does not
nothing
pass
but
the
buzzwords.
Turing test.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, interesting. Okay, I have one quick question before. Sorry, I know you said you wanted to wrap up. I just have one quick question. In the Dungeons and Dragon movie, when when the dragon backs him up into a cave, and they do like this thing, something rather than like one person, and that was the sorcerer guy sticks his finger out of the water, and it's got like the little candle flame on it, and then there's a boom, and they escape. Can someone explain to me what happened in that scene? Anybody?
I think was it the dragon breathing like a gaseous? It was like acid or
I thought he was breathing fire.
Like, he couldn't light himself.
Oh, so they just let this guy. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, that's what
Right.
I. Okay,
That's what I was. That's the impression that I got.
gotcha. Okay.
The
That's
joke
what I-
is that's like a cantrip,
Right. Gotcha. Okay. That's
but
it.
like the idea of flame out of the finger, I don't know. It's an homage
that's
to
the-
something.
That's the only thing in the movie that didn't make any that didn't make any sense to me. Everything else totally checked out. Jokes could have been a little better. I felt like every joke was just like almost there. Like it was funny, but it was just like just a little more, like a
it's
little more of a
I
push.
know it's the campy D&D community that gets a crack out of those kind of jokes. It's like you have to be into puns, so you have to be into the
I
D&D
love.
type of jokes.
Do you
Well,
do you
but
do you
you're
know who you're talking? Do you know who you're talking to?
right,
You
but
have to be
like
into puns. Are you serious?
it's not for everybody is my point. Some people
Yeah,
hate puns. We're just not
just
one of
people.
those people. It could be generational, who knows.
Kevin, I
What
have a
do you
question
think?
for you.
What percentage of
No,
the entire population of the world likes pun jokes?
Kevin, I would like to answer your question with a very simple statement, or it's sort of it's sort of a question, sort of a statement. Did you know that if you start taking a shit at 11:59 p.m. and as you're shitting, the clock rolls over, it's literally same shit, different day.
Oh my god, that wasn't even a good
How do we have negative viewers right now?
one. we're shoving it
Oh
back
my
into
god!
the memory.
Right.
Wow.
Anyway, so that was basically what I would say. By the way, that movie was made by the same people who made Game Night, which would explain a lot of things. If you've never seen Game Night, I highly recommend you watch it. It's a
That was
comedy
a
about
funny movie.
yes, was the movie with Jason Bateman and
Yeah,
a bunch of
that
other
was really
people.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so same people. Yeah, so those people know their shit. There's a lot of inside jokes in Game Night, some of which even I got. So
Inside jokes for what?
just jokes about just like references to board games, just
Oh,
puns about
oh,
board games and stuff like that, like really nerdy humor shit. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
So the I think the Twitch channel that you were talking about earlier is called Watch Me Forever.
That doesn't sound familiar, but maybe
No.
they might have changed. So I know it got taken down at some point, but it might have renamed it. But let me double check really quick.
I don't
Since
know. It's got like pixelated thing of four people sitting at a booth in a diner talking or something.
that definitely sounds correct. It's called. So it used to be called Nothing Forever.
no, it's something
Uh,
forever.
It might be called something else. Hang on, I believe. Oh yes, it is Watch Me. It is yes, it was retitled Watch Me Forever. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
And I believe it should be live right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I see it going, and I
Yep.
don't know what they're saying. I'm not obviously not listening right now, but
But there's a ton of people watching it. So yeah, basically it's Chat GPT. Oh my god, it's a lot. But yeah, that's it. That is definitely it. If you're ever bored, you
That could
can
be funny.
join.
yeah, I'll probably mute that.
Oh, I guess it's lost its appeal. There's only 90 people watching it. Holy shit! It was like tens of thousands of people that used to watch it.
Oh,
I
really?
guess, I
Oh,
guess
wow.
that's
Maybe it's
it.
just
I
not the
guess,
main,
I guess
prime
it's lost
time.
its. I guess it's lost its appeal.
They started, they ended password sharing, and then viewership just
Right.
dropped off.
Oh man, there's a few more topics I really wanted to cover tonight, but it is late.
Like
I guess
John Wick
I'll save.
4,
Yeah.
You mean John Wick
John
5?
Wick 5.
5, man, 5. Yeah. No, I want to talk. I was interested in that whole discussion about the proposed tax on electricity and a few other things, but we can save that for for another night.
Sure. Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm getting
So,
tired actually.
yeah. Well, so I already told my hilarious joke. So I guess we can now that we've got some practice at this thing, we can have closing thoughts.
Oh,
Oh,
I
geez.
think given the
Fair.
breadth and the depth of the topics you guys covered earlier, I think you can definitely come up with something truly profound to leave our watchers and listeners with. Come on, guys, come on.
I'm pretty high right
I
now, so I don't.
I kind of info
That
dumped
would
already, and now
that
I'm drained. My consciousness is
that's not what you
falling
call
back
it.
to nothing.
Okay. Same info
Um,
dump, different day.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, my final thought is it would be cool if Kevin could actually finish the peripheral or something.
Oh my
By
god. Yeah, can
next
you finish Last of Us for the love of fucking god? I've been holding on to my opinion of Last of Us, and I'm forgetting the show as every time we meet and talk about it.
I'm trying my best. I'm gonna fucking have to lose sleep. Oh, this is a bad. I can't do it this week.
Oh my god, you've only had like 1.5 years.
Season
what
2
happens.
is gonna come out pretty soon. I'd like to talk shit about the show before season 2 comes out,
All right.
so that I can totally backtrack on all of it. Hey, did you guys know that the Pedro Pascal is no longer in the Mandalorian outfit? He just does the voices. He just does the voice now. He's no longer
I saw
acting in the show.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
But I thought it
Why?
read like he admits that it never was, but no, that's not true. I've seen him in a few episodes.
Yeah, he takes his mask off. Yeah, so in the first 2 seasons, he was in it for. They didn't reveal for which episodes, but he was in there for some episodes, not all of them, but some of them. In the third season, he was not at all. He was not in the show at all. He just provided the voice.
Well, I mean, he's been doing some movies, so maybe he was just like it was based on his schedule. He could, schedule some voice. He
I
could
think it was
go
also
into any
just.
studio.
I think
Oh,
there's also just no need. I mean, he's a
Oh.
very in-demand actor now, so he probably costs a lot. So they probably were like, "Hey, why would we pay him a fortune to run around in a helmet all day and night?" You know?
Right.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. But that is the real Baby Yoda in every episode. Still, however,
Oh.
that is the real one. Yes, yes. That's good. Anyway, fine. You guys don't want to do a closing thought? My only one is, don't, just die. Don't do the live forever bullshit. Just fucking pass on. Just pass your seat on and go, please, for the love of God. That's why we're here. Don't do this
Don't
freezing yourself, transcendent shit. Just stop. You've had
Yeah.
plenty of time. Okay, you've done your thing. You've had your midlife crisis. You've like I said, you've passed your seat on, or hopefully you haven't, because I mean at this point, I think we have enough assholes in this world. And just like you've said your piece, go. It's fine. We'll be fine. The world doesn't need you to be around forever. No one benefits from that. That's my closing thought. Thank you and good night.
We love you too.
Oh no. I'm not saying I want you guys to drop dead right now. I'm just saying.
No.
You know.
I also
No,
think
yeah.
society is evolving anyway, so we're all gonna
Yeah.
think vastly different.
Come on, there's got to be a part of you that has to wonder what happens after you die. Like if it's nothing, which probably is.
It's
then
like
it's fine.
the
But if it
universal
isn't-
consciousness wakes up and says, "Holy shit, that was a nightmare," or "Wow, that was a pretty cool dream," and then it falls asleep again.
Yeah, no, that's not what happens at all. But sure. Yeah. Anyway. All right, gentlemen, it was a pleasure as always.
Yeah.
But I think it's time we wrap up. So
Yeah, so let's see. Ending
to those who-
soon.
Skippy.
to those who stopped by, thank you. We'll hopefully be back
See you
next week.
next time.
Although Kevin has threatened to stream again, so hopefully that'll happen.
There's entirely possible, but I mean probable. It's entirely possible, but impossible to predict when.
Okay, and I'm still hoping to maybe do that someday.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Cool.
I gotta
All right.
gotta get like my mindset ready to sort of like chat while I'm playing kind of crap. Sort of talk. It's almost. I wonder if like. I know I want to say goodnight too. Like if you're talking to no viewers, you feel really silly. But you have to get that
You're
mindset
still-
out of your head.
Broadcasting too.
Yeah.
Right. No,
Yeah,
I know.
you don't. Yeah. Just to think of like you're sitting there in a semi-public space playing a game, people are stopping by to peek in and see what's happening, and you're just,
It's like, what do they say? Whenever you get stage fright, just picture the audience naked. Can I just go straight
doesn't-
there and like picture everybody, a whole audience of naked people? No, don't do it.
but you just said there's no audience, so
I know. So it's all in my head. Ooh, that's really bad.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it's Twitch, so I don't think you have to picture it. Some of the audience really is naked.
Oh my god. No, I don't want to picture any of that shit. Close.
Cool. All right. Well,
we're closing.
I'm glad. I'm very glad we got to go on this emotional journey with you. Is
All right.
everybody's naked?
Very
No
tired.
one's naked.
No one's naked. No, please, no. All right.
Pants for all. All right.
And with
Have
that,
a good night.
good night.
You gotta stop the stream too.